way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores criticized for his head coaching style in Miami by Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa addressed the matter today. He said, reflecting on the situation and communications, he's sure there are things he could do better, and he's grown in that way, has tried to apply things that he could do better, and is always looking for ways to evolve. Last week, the Browns' plan was for quarterback Deshaun Watson to make his preseason debut in the final exhibition game. Today, Coach Kevin Stefanski's not so sure.
All of our starters should expect to play, and then we'll determine who does or doesn't, how many plays they do. Like I told you guys, in particular with Deshaun, I want to take in all the information this week and really make a final determination later in the week.
When asked if he felt Watson needed to take a hit before week one, Stefanski said no because he's played a lot of football. Watson has not played since breaking his right shoulder in November. Oklahoma State announced Cowboys players will sport QR codes on their helmets linking to the school's name, image, and likeness fund. It is believed to be a first in college football.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming on Wednesday, we'll continue to react to Tua's interview. Plus, I can't wait to hear how Dolphins fans try to defend him this time. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And a Mr. Toby Template. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. Derry Beckwith next hour. Sean Fazende here in hour number 3. We got a ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, a little bit of good news. The New Orleans Saints are back in town. Of course, played Sunday, and they were off yesterday as they traveled home. Now they're back on the practice field tonight, first time in New Orleans. They're at Ullman, night practice, under the lights. Fans will be there. Very cool. And with all the good vibes, we got a little good news as well. Jordan Schultz earlier this afternoon reporting that Saints rookie cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry avoided a significant knee injury during this Sunday's preseason game, and the team believes he has a good chance to play week 1 versus the Panthers. Of course, McKinstry played just 5 snaps before he got rolled up on, left with injury. Should note that there was a write-up there at LouisianaSports.net from our guy, Ross Jackson, reacting to the Kool-Aid McKinstry news. All around, fantastic news for the Saints. Saints typically keep 4 cornerbacks on their 53-man roster, and we know, obviously, Marshawn Lattimore, Alontae Taylor, Paulson Adebo, and then Kool-Aid McKinstry would be number 4. Listen, they've had a lot of guys. Rico Payton has played exceptionally well here in the preseason. Shamar Jean-Charles has played well. They've built some real depth there, and I think they've got bodies that they feel comfortable and confident in right now. But obviously, you're talking about a different level when it comes to Lattimore and now McKinstry are both battling some injuries, but good news there on Kool-Aid. All right, it's after further review. The news didn't stop there. When we got off the air on Monday, we learned that Southern Cal has named their starting quarterback, and it will be Miller Moss. The longtime USC backup will be the starter when LSU takes on USC out in Las Vegas a week from Sunday. This is not a surprise. This was always expected to go this way. As a matter of fact, when Caleb Williams opted out of the bowl game and Miller Moss threw for nearly 400 yards, he threw for 372 and 6 touchdowns in the bowl game against Louisville in the Holiday Bowl. Instead of going and recruiting 2 portal quarterbacks, Lincoln Riley recruited just UNLV's Jaden Mayava. So felt pretty good about what they had with Miller Moss. And that performance by Miller Moss in the bowl game probably scared off some potential transfers because he felt pretty entrenched there. Not that dissimilar from what you saw with Garrett Nussmeier. For what it's worth, Miller Moss did an interview with NBC Sports, and you talked about sort of dealing with the pressure playing quarterback at Southern Cal.
The first thing I would say is you can't take all that on at any particular moment. You can't be like, oh my God, like I'm playing quarterback at USC, like there's all these people watching me. Like in my mind, that's the complete wrong way to approach it. I think the best way for me to approach it and what I've done in the past is just take it one play at a time, one decision at a time. And I think if you're able to do that, then you'll have success regardless of what environment you're operating in.
You know what's fascinating? The LSU and USC parallels are kind of eerie. I mean, they're the big picture things we know. The last 2 Heisman winners, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, played for USC and LSU. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels went 1-2 in the draft. Both teams last year were atrocious defensively. LSU was 108. USC was 119 in the country in total defense. Both defensive coordinators got fired. You brought in new defensive coordinators, new defensive staff. Both teams feel like they had far more talent than the level at which they played. So you're looking to elevate the performance from the players you had. And then you have this situation here with Garrett Nussmeier and Miller Moss. I mean, we sit here in Baton Rouge and talk about Garrett Nussmeier as a guy that's an outlier, who's patient and waited his turn and was a highly regarded guy. The exact same is true for Miller Moss. Garrett Nussmeier and Miller Moss were both 4-stars. They were both 4-stars in the class of 2021. Both sat and waited their turn for 3 years. Both are now redshirt juniors. As redshirt juniors, they're getting their first opportunity to start replacing a Heisman-winning quarterback. Both started the bowl game last year replacing said Heisman-winning quarterback. Garrett Nussmeier threw for over 300 yards against Wisconsin. Miller Moss threw for over 300 yards against Louisville. Last year, Nussmeier started that one game, threw for 591. Miller Moss threw for 681. I mean, they're almost paralleled. Both are Nussmeier is 6'2", 200 pounds. Miller Moss is 6'2", 205. Like, you have almost identical situations. Muse got it. Muse, and that's a 90s reference too, Muse. You always say, Pete Sampras. You know who was dominating tennis when my cousin Vinny was number 1 in the world?
Was it Pete Sampras?
Yeah, I bet it was. I don't know that for certain, but let's go with it. So these two situations are so eerily similar. It's interesting to me because however you as an LSU fan are feeling today about your team is exactly how USC fans are feeling about their team. Because it's the exact same conversation. 2 tradition-rich programs, 2 programs with good head coaches, with lots of talent, terrible on defense a year ago, really good on offense. You lose the quarterback. Now you got a veteran replacing him. You got a new defensive coordinator. Optimism's high. Like you could do the blind resume game with these 2 teams, and it looks almost identical. So how that plays out in Vegas a week from Sunday, really going to be interesting. By the way, on Saturday, it is Tuesday right now, as you well know. On Saturday after practice, I asked Brian Kelly when they were going to start their USC prep. Here's what he said.
Yeah, we'll start Tuesday. We'll begin exchanging teams to give us a look at USC on Tuesday and kind of duplicate 2 weeks in a row of a game week preparation. So we'll go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday into a kind of a game bench control situation next week and then do it again. So, kind of back-to-back weeks, if you will. So if you think of it, next week is kind of the off week that you would normally have, your bye week, where you would do a little work on your opponent and then leading into the game week.
So today, LSU begins their preparation for USC. It's no wonder why Brian Kelly kicked us out for most of this week. we're not going to get to see what they're doing to get ready for USC. You heard him say on Saturday they want to pare down. They're trying to do everything. They want to pare down to what they do well. Run the ball, take their deep shots, get the ball to their playmakers in space, and we'll see how that game plan starts to come together. One more thought on Miller Moss in this interview with NBC Sports out in L.A. He was asked about his goals for the season, his first season as the starting quarterback.
The expectation at USC is to go out there and win. So I think that's, first and foremost, that's the expectation. But I think for me to define this year as a success, like, I want to put absolutely everything I have into getting ready and playing every single week. And I think in being able to do that, I'll live with the result, whatever that may be. So I think we have the guys to go be as successful as we want to be, and I'm really, really excited about that. But yeah, I think as long as we put everything we have into it, like, we'll live with whatever result that may be, and obviously hoping that's a very positive one and believing that's a very positive one. Tigers
are on the practice field today, Tuesday. They'll practice Wednesday with media availability, no availability Thursday, Friday. Then they're scheduled to be in Tiger Stadium on Saturday with media availability. So we'll certainly have all the latest as we have it. All right, glad to have you aboard with us here. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. So if you're going to be watching some NFL football this weekend, the final Saints preseason game, maybe you're just pre-gaming for LSU, or maybe you're watching week 0, 11 a.m. kickoff with Florida State and Georgia Tech. The best way to do it was the nice cold Bud Light in your hand. And remember, they got the new LSU aluminum cans and aluminum bottles, so look for them at retailers near you. Drink easy with the Tigers and Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. One quick news note here. Everybody's got it. Our buddy Sean Fazende, who will be with us here in hour number 3, has it as well. The Saints have activated tight end Juwan Johnson off the PUP list. That's great news. Of course, PUP is physically unable to perform, so you don't want to start the season on PUP because then you're shelved for 6 weeks. So they've activated Juwan Johnson off of PUP. They'll start to ramp him up toward the field. Hopefully he'll be there for week 1 because, as we've seen, the Saints really struggling at that tight end spot. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. What a busy time in recruiting. Tigers got 2 commitments this past weekend, and they're eyeballing at least 2 prospects where LSU will have a hat on the table, including the number 1 safety in America, Jonah Williams. Shea Dixon joins us to talk about it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com. That's where you can find them at River City's 1 Hour Air. They're just the best. If you have an issue with your home central AC, don't get stuck in the heat. Remember, at River City's 1 Hour Air, when you call, you're not getting an answering service. You're getting a living, breathing human, and you'll have a reputable, experienced, trained technician who comes to your house. Russell LeBlanc sent this 5-star Google review. Michael, his technician, was very thorough and informative. He provided knowledge and understanding on HVAC work beyond regular servicemen. He is one of the good ones. Again, another 5-star Google review from Russell LeBlanc. River City's 1 Hour Air. Y'all give him a shout. 752-0001, 752-0001, or online at 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com. For River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Derry Beckwith will be here in an hour. We'll talk some Saints with Sean Fazende in hour number 3. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Every Tuesday, it's our pleasure to visit with Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Talk a little recruiting. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Hey, hat tip. You told us last week maybe some targets to keep an eye on that could be flip candidates for LSU. And among them was Cade Phillips, who the cornerback out of Texas, who didn't, in fact, flip from Texas to LSU. How did they pull it off?
Corey Raymond just stuck to it. Blake Baker, this whole staff. Really, it was one of those things, Matt, where a day after he committed to Texas in July, they were still in contact with him. And one big thing, and there's a myriad of factors, but Texas wanted him as a safety. LSU wanted him as a corner, and they just did not give up on pushing him on the reality that they felt they could develop him in the corner. Corey Raymond's track record of doing it, and then pointing to the reality that unless you're Jamal Adams or Kyle Hamilton or one of those types of players, you're not going as a first rounder as a safety in the NFL. And if that's your goal, if you want to reach the NFL and make a bunch of money one day, then cornerbacks are going much more often in the first round than safeties are. And I think Cade really liked LSU. And not to say he didn't like Texas, but this is one that they badly wanted to pull off. And Matt, I'll tell you this, it doesn't get any bigger. Well, it does, I guess. They also have the number 1 corner in DJ Pickett, but this 1-2 punch, both of them are on the On3 Future Freaks list. Cade Phillips is a 6 foot, 8.5 wingspan, 10.5 hands. I mean, he and DJ Pickett are guys that Corey Raymond would go into a lab and draw up as this is the type of corner I want. Elite track speed, finished 3rd in a long jump in Texas in the highest classification. So it was a big win to pull this one from Texas. And in terms of a rebuild before the season even starts, to have 2 corners who On3's highest on Cade Phillips, we have him as the number 7 corner in America. I think he's going to finish top 5 based off of just the trajectory he's been on. To have those 2 guys committed already, the season hasn't even started, and I think by signing day, you'll look up and 2 of the top 5 corners in America will have signed with LSU.
They need the Jimmies and Joes. They seem well on their way. Let me just stay on the cornerbacks then, because Aiden Anding from Ruston is set to announce this weekend. Shea, you and I have talked plenty. I'm looking at the RPM there from On3. Looks good for the Tigers. Are we expecting LSU to pull this one off this weekend?
Well, why stop the fun now, right, Matt? I mean, just let's keep it rolling. I do. My pick is in for LSU. I think that they came with the offer over the summer. Texas, Arkansas, the other two finalists had their offers in, and that's easier for out-of-state schools to do. We know how that goes with Louisiana. They take their time to do evaluations, and Anding didn't come to camp. So I think had he come to camp, he would have earned it on the spot. But right when camp season ended, they went ahead and made the offer, and he was going to commit to Texas. That was the buzz that weekend, and he said, well, let me press pause on that. Came down for the Bayou Splash recruiting event at the end of July, and now is lining up for an announcement this weekend. And look, they just signed a Ruston player this past cycle. They got plenty of connections on that staff, some former players on that staff, and I think Anding has always kind of wanted that LSU offer, and now that the dust has settled on him getting it, him kind of learning more about things, that he'll get on board. So barring some twists and turns, which I guess can happen in recruiting, obviously, I do expect Aiden Anding, who you talk to North Louisiana people, Matt, and they will tell you, hey, I sit out there in the stands and watch Ruston, one of the best defenses in the state. Anding's the real deal. So this would be a pretty big addition for them, and give you three guys then at corner who you could come in and feel really good about kind of the future of that room after Biden, need, yes, but something you don't want to do, having to rely on the portal for corners in back-to-back years during Kelly's first 2 years here. And he didn't as much this year, and we're seeing P.J. Woodland, and they've got high hopes for Michael Turner, and we're going to see stamps get developed. But I think they're moving back with Corey here to saying, hey, go find the best high school corners out there that you feel are in Louisiana or elsewhere. And it's kind of like some things never change. If I told you Corey Raymond went out and got three corners and they're all from different states, you would tell me East Texas, Florida, and Louisiana, and that would be correct.
Sounds right. If they get Anding, would they be done with three cornerbacks, or are they still looking for more?
I think they would take more if it was the right fit. And obviously the name that will get brought up is Jabari Antoine, who is from Louisiana. When it goes to Westgate, plays corner, plays safety. I think he could play either, but was once committed, decommitted, committed to Miami shortly thereafter, but also in that stretch between now and then, they've added Pickett, they've added Phillips here recently, and then trending here for Anding this weekend. So they're not going to turn him away, but what is his view of the class? Because when he decommitted, they didn't have anyone but him. Now they could potentially have three corners. So I'll be curious to see how that one plays out, but obviously you don't want to lose in-state guys, but at the same time, one, you don't lose them to somebody you're playing every year, and two, you've rebounded pretty well if you're going to sign three high-quality corners and in addition to it, land two 4-star safeties in Jim Coyley and Jace Thomas.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Let's just stay with this weekend because Aiden Anding is going to announce, and then the biggest fish in the pond in the secondary remaining, of course, is Jonah Williams, the number one safety in the country. Decision day is Saturday. Shea, it's always been Texas A&M, LSU kind of feeling battle there. Oregon's had their hat in the ring as well. Here with now 4 days until the announcement, how do you feel?
I think this was one that, and I don't want to say, it's coming down to NIL, but when you're in the final week of a recruitment, that's something that gets talked about a lot, even more so when you're a two-sport athlete and the other sport's baseball, where an MLB draft comes up, and then you're factoring in that, and, these conversations, I can tell you from talking to different schools, do include things like, okay, slot value of baseball next summer, where could he go? Does that need to be part of NIL discussions? So this one has a little bit more to it, than just a guy who plays football, but at the same time, LSU's NIL is in a good spot right now, at least in terms of how they're approaching it. I think they're so far ahead in terms of prepping for when we move to a rev share and how they'll approach it and be in a good spot with that transition. So you don't just tap into Pickett and Underwood and all these elite players. Yes, they recruit very well. Yes, they make the pitch of what they've always done. Come here, be developed. Look at the NFL players. Look at the staff. I'll play in the SEC. Play for this fan base that's as rabid as any in the country. So all of that matters very, very much. And much of it, more than NIL. I mean, you can listen to guys like Underwood who said, I don't really care because I know that if I go down there and I do what I'm supposed to do, I'll make a lot of money in the NFL. So is just a distraction for me if I think about NIL and my decision. So for Jonah, I think it will ultimately come down to, hey, what do you want to do? And he wants to play baseball and football in college. He's got a chance at that at LSU, Texas, A&M. All the staffs have offers out for both. We know Jay Johnson even did an in-home with him, so LSU's rolled out the red carpet here. I think that LSU, Matt, has recruited him the best out of everyone from start to finish. I firmly believe that. I've got people at other schools who feel that that's the case. The one tricky thing for me, look, I always thought it would be LSU A&M. He's a kid from Ball. He's in Galveston. And till that staff shakeup with the baseball staff at A&M, now Texas has that buzz. They weren't really always in the picture. My fear for if I'm an LSU coach or an LSU fan here is that, all right, we've done great. Here we are. We're recruiting him all the way down to the end. He wants to be here. We want him. But how badly? And look, they need him. But Texas might need him more. And when you think about need and perception and the NIL era and the pressure that coming into the SEC that Sark's under, we did this a year ago, right, with Colin Simmons, where Texas had gone I don't want to make it up, but it was a long time. It was almost a decade without signing the number one player in Texas. And that was their chance, Colin Simmons. Now, Jonah Williams isn't the number one player in Texas, but I'll give you the rundown on their top five. DeCorian Moore, one-time LSU commits number one. He's going to Oregon, not Texas. Devin Sanchez out of the North Shore is going to Ohio State, not Texas. Ty Haywood's number four. He's going to Bama, not Texas. And Michael Fasusi, number five, is going to be announcing this decision. Everyone thought he was going to Texas. All the picks are now on OU. The one I skipped over there was number three, Jonah Williams. So you even go beyond that. That number six, Keelan Russell, quarterback, going to Bama. You have to get down to seven in Texas for Khaleke Lockett, who recently committed, the receiver. Is Texas really going to let the top six players in the state all get away? I think that with their backs against the wall, they're going to do all they can to try to make this one happen for this week. I think Texas needs this win more than LSU does, but that won't change LSU's push for how hard they're going to go after him and try to get this win on Saturday.
All right, Shea, got a couple more. Mike Tyler, if we bring it back full circle, was the other player that committed on Saturday. You had told us all along you feel really good about LSU landing the tight end out of South Carolina. Shea, I think he kind of reminds me a lot of Mason Taylor coming out of high school, a guy that's 6'4", 6'5", 230 pounds, framed to build, athletic, all that stuff. Is that kind of the comp? Is that what they're thinking here with a player like Mike Tyler?
Yeah, and I think more so, too, it's the complement of what he is to J.D. LaFleur, who is an obvious legacy. Dad was a pretty good tight end back in the day, pretty good football player who I believe was drafted pretty highly. And if you've seen J.D., he does not look like he's in high school. This is a kid who is ready-made. He can block, he can catch, he will be developed into more of a kind of a pass catcher over time. And I think with Tyler, you get a guy where you say, we can develop his blocking. He's got, kind of already some advanced, abilities as a pass catcher. So they can kind of balance each other out in that way. I didn't think they were going to go out and get another kind of blocking tight end where you needed to then kind of move along his pass catching skills. JD can handle all that for you. So I think that it's Mason Taylor, sure. I think he'll be used in a similar fashion to how they will use Taylor. And they wanted two tight ends, and this made sense. I mean, they took their time. JD committed a year ago, so they only hosted two tight ends on official visits, and Mike Tyler was one of them. And that came after the summer camp where they watched him work out in person. I mean, I was out there. They put him through 3 hours of workouts, and when it was over, it was like, he's our guy, and we're going to go after him. And it didn't take him too long to get him committed. So Slade Nagel in a pretty good spot, given that, yes, you lost a tight end in Mac Markway, but Mason Taylor is probably the most slept-on tight end in the SEC, if not the country right now, just because Jaden Daniels didn't need to use him last year. Garrett Nussmeier will, just because of the type of quarterbacks they are in terms of the usage of a tight end. And then, 2'6", 6.5", pass catchers with the wingspans and catch radiuses that Trey Green and Kamori and Pimpton have. Anybody would take one of those guys. LSU has two. Now you bring these guys in. Pretty good room for a guy like Nagel, who comes over from Tulane and takes over a tight end room that looks pretty well built for the future. And remind you, for a team that wants to use more 12 personnel.
Shea, before you go, Aiden Anding this weekend. Who else might be next?
Well, Jonah Williams this weekend is the other, so we'll be watching both of those on Saturday. And then Buddy Mathis, the DT out of Georgia, who keeps very quiet. That's what the guys in the trenches do. They don't make much of a fuss over it. They just pop at any time. But he said he wants to do something before he starts his senior year. I think he ends up at LSU. That would give Bo Davis another. And then we'll watch what Jamie French does. He announces at the end of the month LSU's in that one. He's a 5-star receiver, but you could talk to coaches at 4 different teams, Matt, off the record, and all 4 of them could convince you, like, hey, we've got a shot, and then they could convince you of why they don't think it's them, and he could end up elsewhere. So I think as we get closer to that one, we'll be monitoring it more, but right now everybody's on Aiden Anding and Jonah Williams' watch.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. You want recruiting news? Where you go? Shea's the best. All right, man, we appreciate it. Thanks as always for the time, Shea.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
All right, bud, be well. It's after further review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. Y'all, it's back to school time for the kiddos. Make sure your son, your daughter can see the board, can see what they're trying to learn there in class. The Williamson Eye Center, get them that annual eye exam at any of the Williamson Eye Center locations across the greater Baton Rouge area. You can find the location nearest you, or you can call 924-2020, 924-2020 to book that appointment. 924-2020. Of course, we always say, eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. You can get that annual eye exam because you should always get an annual eye exam. Eyewear, you wear contacts or glasses, they can sell you those contacts or glasses. And, of course, eye surgery. If you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, like I did, 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Good stuff there by Shea. Honestly, a little disappointed to hear the Jonah Williams stuff that maybe Texas has found their way through, in part because Jonah Williams has been pretty adamant all along that this wasn't going to be a money thing, that he wasn't going to be bought. But it sure feels like Texas is up in the ante right now for Jonah Williams to a point where they're just not going to lose him. And that happens at times. We've seen it with Texas. We've seen it with A&M, where they just make up their mind like they're not going to lose a player. So that happened last year with Terry Bussey. I mean, after LSU had flipped, was it 3 or 4 players out of the A&M class? It came down to Terry Bussey. He made it official to LSU. It looked like he might have been trending toward LSU, and ultimately A&M said, no, we ain't losing another one. And so they bankrolled it. And sometimes wealthy people can be really persuasive when they open up their checkbook and they're motivated. And I think it sounds like from Shea that might be what's happening there with Jonah Williams. But we'll get that answer on Saturday. Okay, it's After Further Review. Tuesday shows powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll knock out a quick break, go around the SEC. Stay here.
AFR.
I've told you for a couple of months now about Duplessis Builders. If you're thinking about building a pool or remodeling your pool, Duplessis Builders, they're the best. We've told you about the engineering background, the quality of work they do, the 10-year workmanship warranty. Well, let's talk about timing now. If you're thinking of building a pool, I mean, if you sign up in May or June, they're starting your work in August because it's a long process. There's design, there's permits, there's financing. A lot of that could take a month, 2 months, and then the build is going to take another 2 months. So don't wait until January. If you want to be swimming in the spring, start that process today. And the other great thing, look, if they finish your pool in January, February, then your grass around your pool is ready for the spring. So you are done by the time the weather starts getting nice and it's time to swim. It's Duplessis Builders. Call Derek Duplessis, my friends over at Duplessis Builders, or start online at duplessisbuilders.net. Beautiful showroom on Airline in Gonzales, duplessisbuilders.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Advertisements, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet tea. I make a little room and she climbs on up. Open up a
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
104.5 ESPN and Citizens Bank and Trust are looking for the ultimate tailgate. Upload your best tailgate photo to 1045ESPN.com for a chance to win a $500 Alumni Hall gift card. Our judges will select a winner on August 29th. It's the ultimate tailgate giveaway from Alumni Hall, Citizens Bank and Trust, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
They sell that John Deere Gator over there at Alumni Hall?
I don't think so.
No, they don't, because if you're Bunky and below, the only place you're going to get a John Deere Gator?
Where's that?
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Just the best. SunnyQuip.com. SunnyQuip.com. LSU basketball schedule is out. I don't know. What do you think of it? I'm sure Hunt was walking out of studio a bit ago, said he was going to go have a write-up over at LouisianaSports.net on this. A lot of this we knew. We knew the SEC schedule, your permanents. Conference play for the Tigers will begin January the 4th at home against Vanderbilt. Missouri, Ole Miss on the road. Home against Arkansas. At A&M at Bama. Auburn at home. Texas at home. At Georgia. Ole Miss at Arkansas. At Oklahoma. That'll be interesting. Texas at home. At Oklahoma year one. South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee. I'll come to Baton Rouge. Then Mississippi State, Kentucky on the road. Then home against Texas A&M to wrap up the schedule. So, of course, you get Arkansas twice. Home and away. And A&M twice, home and away as your permanents, your home and home permanents. But all things considered, I think ramped up expectations for Matt McMahon here in year three. Year one was a total punt. God bless him. It was just an impossible situation where 2 weeks after being hired, he had literally 0 scholarship players. It's hard even to fathom that as real. Year two, gets you into the NIT. Year three, by far his best roster. All of the lingering sanctions from the Will Wade era are done. And, I guess you actually do have a scholarship, one more year of a limited scholarship. But you'll be done with that, and by far his best roster and a great opportunity. I would say it's realistic to think this should be a tournament team for the Tigers. But I get it. Everybody's in football mode right now. But if you're interested in the basketball schedule, the SEC released its schedule. So we already knew LSU's non-conference opponents. Now we know the full SEC slate. All right, we're going to go around the SEC, speaking of which, here in just a quick second. Derry Beckwith's going to be with us to start hour number 2. Actually, in about 30 minutes from right now, we'll talk to Darry. We've kind of been doing a series where we've talked to former Tiger greats about their position in this current on this current team. We had Will Blackwell to talk about the offensive line. We had Brandon Taylor to talk about the secondary. We had Big Fave to talk about the defensive line. So kind of bounce it. Had Eddie Kennison to talk about the receivers. So, look, I'm excited to have Darry here. You know, Darry was an all-conference linebacker. Came in, in Les Miles' first class in 2005. Was your starting inside backer on the national championship team. Went through a defensive coordinator change. A couple of them actually, with Bo Pelini, the Malvito experiment, and then obviously with bringing in John Javis. So Darry was a great player during his time at LSU, and but for knee injuries, would have gone on to have a long, prosperous NFL career. But a smart, instinctive player who knows that position very well. And I know we've talked a lot with Darry over the months about Harold Perkins and his position change, and I'm curious to get Darry's feedback now that it appears from all we've seen that Perkins isn't just going to be an off-ball linebacker. He's not just planting himself in the middle of that defense. They're moving him around a bunch. And then also Blake Baker talking about West Weeks and feeling like he's got 4 starters. So we'll get into all that with Derry Beckwith next hour. We're looking forward to it. Okay, we're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. You know where to find it with locations all over South Louisiana. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. If you want to buy the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. Oh, and be treated awesome. Not like some bargain basement place like the dollar store. No, it ain't that. You're walking into a place where they treat you like family, and they've been around since 1968. They have a customer bill of rights. It's the things that they feel every single customer that walks in their door is entitled to, like fair pricing, like an honest evaluation where they're never going to upsell you, like a clean place to wait for your vehicle, if that's what you choose to do. They're the best. It's Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills. We keep you rolling. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Lenora Sellers has been named the starting quarterback at South Carolina. He beats out Robbie Ashford, the former Auburn quarterback who had transferred off the Plains. Sellers comes into the season as a redshirt freshman. He's from the state of South Carolina. Appeared in 3 games last year, backing up Spencer Rattler. And now Lenora Sellers, who attempted only 4 passes a year ago, was 4 for 4, however. Sellers will be the starting quarterback. So week 3, when LSU goes to Columbia, they'll face redshirt freshman Lenora Sellers.
The Florida Gators.
Billy Napier gave an update on running back Montrell Johnson's injury. Napier said, quote, Montrell is doing fantastic. He's been able to do a few things. They expect him to be able to participate in practice, whether that's modified or going at full speed. Of course, Johnson, who's the number 1 running back on the Florida team, injured his knee just within the first few days of camp and has been on a week-to-week basis since. Of course, Florida opens up the season a week from Saturday against Miami.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama football general manager Courtney Morgan has agreed to a new precedent-setting contract for someone in that role, that GM role, after USC had been targeting him. Morgan will earn an average of $825,000 a year under his 3-year deal. The new deal will be formally approved by the Board of Trustees on Tuesday. Morgan, by the way, spent the last 2 seasons with Kalen DeBoer at Washington and followed him to Alabama. And then, the Alabama fans are all up in my mentions today. Muse, you missed Alabama is burning yesterday.
I see that, I missed it,
Well, they lost to commit who flipped to Tennessee.
Oof, pretty big rival there.
Oh, man. So we had some fun with it. By the way, I asked Alondra yesterday, who's the game that Alabama wants to win the most every year? Auburn. She said, I think she said Texas.
No.
She missed. That was a swing and a miss. No, she said LSU and then said Texas. But Auburn. And then after Auburn, who's their other big rival?
Tennessee.
Oh, so you lose a guy to Tennessee. Big deal. So we did a little Bama's burning. And naturally, that's posted on social, so all the Alabama fans who just don't seem to understand, I'm just trolling the ever-living hell out of them and have been doing it for months, and they just can't get it. They just don't understand. So I keep throwing the line in the water, and I keep reeling in these big bass every time. And it's like eventually I'm just going to be wasting bait, right? Because they're going to stop. But they keep, hook, line, and sinker every time. So anyway, today, Alabama gets a commitment from a guy named Kylan Deere. He's a running back. He's a 4-star. Good for him and all that stuff. And so now they're flooding my timeline. What now?
Yeah, look at this guy that we got.
Did they ever think, they were never going to get a commit again? Of course they're going to get commits.
Yeah.
They continue to miss the point because, it's Alabama fans. And it's just a little easy right now. But just wait, Muse. I'll ignore them all. I'll just ignore them. And then next time something bad happens to Bama, I'll be right back there. And you know what's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
Lemmings right off the cliff. Fish in a barrel.
I was going to say, you're really fishing with dynamite. There's no really hook or line involved here.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
It's too easy. But Bama got a running back commit.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
And Oklahoma announced a record for fundraising in the 2023-2024 fiscal year. $110.3 million in donations. That surpasses the previous record of $109 million in fiscal 2022. That's, of course, when they announced they were going to be coming into the SEC. So, anyway, gigantic fundraising year for Oklahoma as they come into the SEC. There you have it. That is around the SEC. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering, that $110 million, that sounds like a lot of money, right? Doesn't it? Raise $110 million in a year?
Yeah, it's a solid go of things.
$110 million in donations in 1 year. Do you know how much money Texas A&M raised in 1 year after Johnny Manziel's Heisman season? So Johnny wins the Heisman. A&M people, we're good for the first time ever, yay. You know how much money they raised? Remember, Oklahoma coming into the SEC, big deal, record number, $110 million. We're putting out the press release, flexing on everybody. Texas A&M, the year after Johnny Manziel won the Heisman, raised $740 million. They raised $750 million in 1 year. That's like LSU's entire endowment.
Yeah.
They raised it in 1 year.
They put it to good use, too, man. I'm happy for A&M.
They've won nothing. That's why we can laugh about it, because it doesn't it's the most perplexing thing when you have that many resources and you just can't figure it out. It's got to be maddening for them, but hilarious for us.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, it's After Further Review. Tuesday show's powered by Sunshine. We'll wrap up with hour number 1 next.
AFR.
Get Gordon, get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Hey, it's not too late. September the 9th is the deadline. September the 9th is the deadline to enter the Get Gordon Design My Billboard contest. It's easy. Go to getgordon.com/billboards. Getgordon.com/billboards. One more time. Getgordon.com/billboards. Again, the deadline is on September the 8th. September the 8th is the deadline. It's really easy. All you got to do is design a billboard, have Gordon, his logo in it. You'll see all the rules and all the details there to enter. Winners getting up to $2,000 in prizes, and you'll see your billboard on one of Gordon's boards somewhere around town. So it's easy. Make sure you include Gordon McKernan Injury Attorney logo. And go to getgordon.com/billboards, getgordon.com/billboards, getgordon.com/billboards to enter Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
So, wrapping up hour number 1, I was we're there in around the SEC talking a little bit about Oklahoma raising $110 million in 1 year in donations, and it kind of dovetailed into this conversation where On3 caught up with Drew Rosenhaus. I think everybody knows who Drew Rosenhaus is. He kind of has the reputation of being sort of the super agent, and Drew Rosenhaus is lobbying for a salary cap with I guess a cap on NIL is a better way to say it. He spoke with On3's Philip Dukes and said, I'm pulling up the quote here. Forgive me, it's taking a second to load. He said, quote, "I believe in NIL. I think it's great for everyone involved, but I do think that there needs to be structure, that all colleges and major conferences should operate within a salary cap like we have in professional sports. And I think structure would be great to give everybody a fair shot at being competitive, and we're not just seeing the collectives with the deep pockets dominate recruiting." Hey, Muse, you're a baseball fan, right?
Yes.
They got a salary cap in baseball?
They do not.
Oh, really?
No salary cap.
Oh, so what happens in baseball then? Like whenever all the rich teams have money, and what do they do?
Well, they pay players big money and pay a luxury tax if they go over that, right? Yeah. And a lot of the times they don't even care. Look at the Dodgers. They're just like, here, luxury tax, LOL.
Yeah. Who won the World Series last year?
That's the Texas Rangers.
Oh. What's their payroll look like?
I mean, it's not the top end of the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up, though.
Didn't the Nationals win a World Series recently, too?
2019?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Who's got, like, the biggest payroll?
Dodgers or Yankees?
Yeah, I'm sure it's the Dodgers right now. Yankees. They got a big payroll, right?
They do.
They win World Series titles all the time, don't they?
Not anymore.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's been a minute there.
I just can't help but laugh. Like, laugh, roll my eyes, whatever. It's always the adults in the room that are trying to limit what the young people can earn. No, there's never going to be a cap on NIL because a salary cap, by the way, a salary cap is your salary. NIL isn't, by definition, salary. These aren't employees. These are what student athletes are being paid to use their name, image, and likeness. And you could say, well, that's obnoxious because nobody would pay that. Well, they are paying that. What's the market for something? What someone's willing to pay for it. There are human beings that pay millions of dollars for little pieces of cardboard with pictures of athletes on them. That sounds stupid. I could go home to my house and cut out some cardboard and slap a picture of an athlete on it. Anybody could pay $1 million for it? I don't think so. It'd be awesome if you did. So no, they're not going to cap NIL. The owners, the adults in the room, made this mess. They got to figure a way out of it. And I don't think there is one. All right, hour number 2 coming up next.
AFR.
Brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, make sure your first call, your first option is First South Farm Credit. Ask about the patronage refund when you call First South Farm Credit. I've told you about it before, but I really want to hammer this point home. When you borrow from First South Farm Credit, every year they write a check to you, the borrower. How many lenders do you know that do that? First South Farm Credit's done it for 29 consecutive years. This year, $25.5 million they redistributed from their profits back to their borrowers because they're a cooperative and they share the profits with their borrowers, which effectively reduces your cost of borrowing. So learn more at firstsouthland.com. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores responded today to comments by Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa that Flores used negative reinforcement on him daily when he was Miami's head coach. Flores admitted it wasn't easy being called a terrible person.
That hit me in a way that I wouldn't say was positive for me, but at the same time, I've got to use that and say, hey, how can I grow from that? How can I be better? And that's really where I'm at from that standpoint. Do I feel like that's me? No.
Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores also said he's evolved as a coach, is happy for Tua's success, and wishes him nothing but the best. In one of the biggest games this upcoming college basketball season, John Calipari will make his return to Rupp Arena February 1st when his Arkansas Razorbacks visit Kentucky, where he coached for over a decade, won a national title in 2012 as well. NHL Kraken side forward Matty Beniers, their first ever draft pick, to a 7-year extension worth just under $50 million, so Seattle locking in a cornerstone piece of the franchise's future.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming on Wednesday, we'll continue to react to Tua's interview. Plus, I can't wait to hear how Dolphins fans try to defend him this time. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Derry Beckwith in 15 minutes. The sounds of Tiger Stadium won't be the same in 2024. LSU has just issued a press release announcing that longtime Tiger Stadium public address announcer Dan Bornay is taking a temporary leave due to health concerns. Did not detail what those health concerns are, only that Bornay will be temporarily stepping away from the booth. Does hope to return at some point in 2024, the press release says. The longtime voice of Alec Box Stadium, Bill Franques, will take over in the interim until Dan Bornay can return. Bornay's been the voice of Tiger Stadium for 38 years. He's also been the public address announcer at the PMAC for men's basketball for 36 years. And it's interesting. I know Dan very well. I've known him almost my whole life. And he has told the story many times of how he got that job. And I'll tell it secondhand here because there is a very, very, very important lesson. And forgive me if I do miss some of the details with it, the particulars. But when the job came open, Dan Bornay inquired and went for an interview, and they hired him. And when he asked why, he said, well, you're the only one that applied. And his message, he tells it a much more colorful, detailed story, obviously, but the lesson that he learned, that he told me when I was young, and I'm sure he has told that story a million times. But the lesson that he that he taught then and teaches through that story is the power of the ask. Never be afraid to ask for what you want. Don't assume you can't have it. Ask for it. Be convicted about it. And don't just ask. Do what you have to do to get it, but ask. Don't ever just assume you can't have it. Otherwise, we might have been listening to a different voice in Tiger Stadium for the last 38 years, announcing it's Saturday night, and here come your Fighting Tigers of LSU. So we wish Dan Bournet, Deacon Dan, well in his recovery. We hope to hear him back in Tiger Stadium really soon. All right, it's After Further Review. Tuesday shows powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. Derry Beckwith will be with us in about 11 minutes from right now. Looking forward to talking to the former Tiger linebacker. Undeniably, y'all, the biggest issue the Saints have right now is the offensive line. That's not even debatable at this point. You're replacing 3 starters, all details that you know at this point because we've talked about it ad nauseum for so long. You're replacing 3 starters. You're trying Trevor Penning at right tackle. That's not gone super awesome. Taliesin Fuanga has been really good at left tackle so far throughout his first training camp of his rookie year, but injured his back and was sidelined. We saw Landon Young take his place on Sunday night out in San Francisco. You were hoping Nick Saldiveri, who you traded up to take with the first pick of day 3 a year ago, would be ready to be your starting left guard. He's got an injury that sidelined him. We've seen Lucas Patrick in that role now. It's just not great. Now, all that said, in fairness, the offensive line did play well on Sunday against the 49ers. After back-to-back 3-and-outs, that offensive line paced you to that 95-yard touchdown drive where you ate up 8 minutes off the clock, converted 2 fourth downs. They were very good on that drive. Now, the depth wasn't necessarily great for you, but the starters were. As a matter of fact, Pro Football Focus had Eric McCoy as the highest-graded player for the New Orleans Saints in that game. We went through some of the PFF numbers yesterday on the show. So McCoy and Ruiz both graded out very well for New Orleans. Well, one of the things that, as the Saints continue to try to figure out what they're going to look like on the offensive line, one of the things that we're going to look at in this next week as rosters get cut from 90 to 53, and just like that, you have 1,500 free agents, is who ends up on the market. Well, a really intriguing name popped on the market today, and it's veteran offensive lineman Dennis Daly. And you may not know the name, and if you don't, that's fine. But Dennis Daly, most recently here, was with the Arizona Cardinals. And over his career, he's played a lot of football. He's 28 years old, so he's a young veteran. And after having started his career with Tennessee and starting 15 games at left tackle in 2022, and during his time in the NFL with the Titans, Dennis Daly played left tackle, left guard, right guard. He played 4 spots on the offensive line. And again, started 15 games at left tackle in 2022. It was effective enough to where Arizona signed him to a 2-year contract last year. Well, the Arizona Cardinals released Daly on Tuesday, according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. So I thought, the obvious question is, should the Saints go try to sign Dennis Daly? And my answer is, yes, please. Quickly, at that, before anybody else does. I'm not telling you that Dennis Daly would be a guy who immediately steps in and is a Pro Bowl caliber starting offensive lineman. And you might remember Daly because he played collegiately at South Carolina. His last season with the Gamecocks was 2018. But it's fair to ask, well, if Arizona signed him to that contract, why did they cut him? And he was on IR last year. So Arizona signs that contract. He gets injured. He goes on IR, spends most of the 2023 on IR. He got buried on the depth chart. They released him. Okay, happens. But you also have a guy here that is a very versatile player that has proven he can be, when healthy, a very good starting player in the NFL and can play any of 4 positions, which makes him very versatile. What happens if you get into the regular season and you're faced with the same reality you were early in the season last year when you had Trevor Penning at left tackle, and it took about a minute and a half when Arden Key and the Titans just assaulted Trevor Penning. Like, what do you do when you realize very quickly he's not capable? You have to plan for and prepare for that possibility based on what we've seen. Well, right now, what's your option? Landon Young and Oli Udoh? Look, I was high on Oli Udoh when they signed him from Minnesota. Again, that's a young veteran, not a star player, but a guy who has been a starting player in the NFL and has starting experience. He's not played well so far in camp and in the preseason. So is Landon Young, who's been kind of a glorified, tight end, the tackle eligible throughout his career. I mean, that's your option. Landon Young started at left tackle with Fuanga out. If nothing else, you need a swing option who, if Trevor Penning can't play, or if Fuanga, hopefully the back issue isn't anything, but if something happens there, he's not capable at left tackle. Or what if you have somebody go down on the interior? You already lost Nick Saldiveri. Lucas Patrick's there. What's next? I don't know the answer to that. So, yeah. Sign him. Bring him on in. I mean, it's a guy that has played and has started at left tackle in the National Football League. And if you need to swing him to either side, you can. That's a valuable piece. I mean, look, Landon Young's played in a lot of games. Landon Young has played in 39 career games now. And he started 7 times. He started 4 times last year when Ryan Ramczyk was injured. So he has started at times. But there's a reason why Landon Young has never gotten a foothold as a starter on this offensive line with the team that drafted him and that knows him best. Because at best, he's a depth piece and a rotational guy. You might have more than that with Dennis Daly. If nothing else, create competition. Bring him in. What it costs you nothing. Only if he actually makes your team, which would be a great sign that he's better than what you have. He may not be the only guy, because when the 53-man roster cuts, from 90 to 53 come, you're going to have more than 1,000 players become free agents in one day. And a lot of them are going to be offensive linemen, and a lot of them are going to be better than guys that you have right now. So something may shake. But in the meantime, why wait? I mean, the tackles you have right now are Fuanga, Penning, Landon Young, Oli Udoh. Yeah. Go add a veteran to that room right now. A young veteran who can play 4 different spots on the line. We'll see if they do. Saints back on the practice field tonight, Tuesday, at Ullman. Open to the public. Be really cool. I think it's a great concept that they do. Inviting fans to come out, Ullman. You can pack it out if you want. Under the lights, night practice right there uptown New Orleans. Really, really cool thing that they do. So hopefully it's a great night, and we'll see if the Saints can maybe add some reinforcements on the offensive line. All right, it's After Further Review brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore. I drink Evermore every single day. I got my bottle here. I drink during the show. It is natural artesian water, and it is a Louisiana product. Y'all, don't buy that crinkly bottle, the crinkly, cheap plastic bottle from Texas. Don't buy water from some foreign country just because they have pretty flowers on it. It sounds like it's tropical and nice. You're talking about a Louisiana product, which is Mother Nature's masterpiece. This is natural artesian water. Nothing added, nothing taken away. From the earth, right into the bottle, piped right into the bottle, and then boom. It never touches air until you uncap that bottle and take your first delicious sip. It's Evermore. EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com, available at great local retailers. Okay, it's After Further Review. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We'll come back excited about this. Our buddy Derry Beckwith, former Tiger All-SEC linebacker, will join us. We'll talk about this LSU linebacker core. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
Speaking of Evermore, you can buy Evermore at Rouse's. Rouse's.com. Not just Evermore. There's tons of stuff that you can buy at Rouse's. You want to fill up your grocery cart? You didn't make groceries for the week? You can do it over at Rouse's with nearly 70 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama. And y'all, a truckload sale is going on right now over at Rouse's. So get to Rouse's.com, or you can always download the Rouse's app. That's a great way to do it as well. You can shop all the specials, see all the deals that they have going on right now. If you're interested in getting dinner tonight for the family, you can do it. If you want some seasonal craft beer, you're having a party, a game watch, it's week 0. You want something to throw on the grill this weekend for week 0, you can do it. All your sausages or meats or fish, they got it. Tons of your adult beverages as well. It's at Rouse's. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Rouses, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouses, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner
And one more teeny-weeny ride before I take her home. She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
July 8th, but I think he's really been slept on as West Weeks. I think he had an outstanding spring. But when you talk about those 4 guys, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think all 4 of them have different skill sets. All 4 of them are really, really good college football players. So that's one of the challenges for me, honestly, going into, fall camp is you want to get guys really good at a position. And then once they do that, now it's okay, how can we move these pieces of the puzzle around? How can we get them on the field more often together? And that's something that we're definitely toying with throughout the month of July and going into fall camp, because I think those are 4 of our best players on defense.
That was Blake Baker on Off the Bench a little more than a month ago before LSU was starting fall camp, where he talked about his 4 linebackers feeling like he had 4 starters. And lo and behold, we've seen a lot of interchange among those 4 in a lot of different roles. A guy who knows a ton about playing linebacker at LSU is former All-SEC linebacker, 2008 Butkus Award finalist, Derry Beckwith, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Beast, good to talk to you, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, Matt. By the way, She Thinks My Tractor Sexy is probably my favorite song right now. I was hoping when I came on that you guys be playing that song. And that song, I cannot get it out of my head. She thinks my tractor sexy.
Well, if you listened to this show, which I hope you do regularly,
I do.
of course, our Tuesday sponsor is Sunshine. You're a hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. So the only way I know how to just absolutely ingrain marketing and branding into people's brain is just to do something on repeat like that. So we play it the entire show Tuesday. So if you keep listening, Darry, you'll hear it when we come out of every single break all Tuesday long. So just make a note. Tuesdays, you'll hear it every single break right here on AFR. So we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Hey, you hear Blake Baker talk about his 4 linebackers. When you listen to him talk about those 4 guys and feeling like he has 4 starters, like, what's your reaction to that?
I think it's something that he can actually manage. I do believe Blake Baker will find opportunities and schemes to get all 4 linebackers on the field. You have Greg Penn, you have Harold Perkins, and you have both the Weeks brothers. I think he's going to do an outstanding job in making sure that he fits those guys' skill sets. He took a defense in Missouri that was at the bottom half of college football and turned them, quite frankly, into a top 25, top 30 defense. So I think he's going to do a good job of getting them on the field, keeping them happy and keeping them satisfied. And I think the main thing is that making sure that they play with excitement, they play with enthusiasm. And I think that's something that they're doing this camp. Looking at all the videos from LSU social media, you see these guys having fun. You see that they're bought into what Blake Baker is saying. I heard an interview from Whit Weeks the other day, and he's talking about the excitement that they're playing with right now. And look, last year at this time, Matt, we didn't hear anything about the defense creating turnovers. Now all of a sudden they're creating turnovers. They're playing well. They're playing together as a unit. So I think he'll do a great job of getting all 4 guys on the field, and hopefully they'll be able to make some plays this year.
How easy or difficult is it to play 4 linebackers when you're not in a traditional 4-3, right? Like, they got that star position that's Major Burns. So really it's Harold Perkins in some spot and then another linebacker. So how easy or difficult, Darry, is it to play 4?
Well, it's based off what the offense is giving you. So what you're going to see sometimes on 3rd and long, he may have Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins in at the same time, a certain package. Depending on what the offense dictates, he can have Greg Penn and also Wes Weeks on the field as well. So I think he's going to do a good job of making sure that whatever the offense is scheming, he's going to have the right personnel on the field. And look, I think sometimes we overthink things. These coordinators are getting paid a lot of money. So I do have my full faith in Blake Baker that he'll be able to make the proper adjustments. And I know people are having kind of skepticism about Harold Perkins playing the off-ball linebacker position, but the easiest way to make sure that he's acclimated, the easiest way to make sure that Harold Perkins does well at the off-ball linebacker position is to move him around and blitz him. Because when you blitz somebody like Harold Perkins, you create chaos, and you do not keep him stationary. Because sometimes if you keep him stationary, especially a player like Harold, lineman that's a lot much bigger and a lot much stronger, once they get on the second level and they get their hands on him, he won't be able to move. But if you blitz Harold Perkins and move him around, he's going to cause a lot of havoc. I saw something today where I believe it was, I forgot the safety that played for the Saints that played for Alabama for a long time. Roman Harper.
Harper.
Yeah, he kind of ticked me off this morning. He said that he didn't believe Harold Perkins should be on the preseason AP All-American team. But what people have to realize, last year, what did we say? Harold Perkins was out of position last year. That's what everybody was saying, that Matt House had him out of position. How can a person that was out of position, which I totally agree with, but he equaled the same amount of sacks he did his freshman year, and he darn near equaled the same tackles of loss that he did his freshman year, a freshman year where he exploded onto the scene. So a guy that was out of position basically matched his freshman stats. So for me, coming to this year to see a guy like Blake Baker, what he did for Damone Clark, what he did for the Missouri defense, I'm looking forward. I'm so excited to seeing Harold Perkins and that whole linebacking core wreak havoc this year.
Yeah, both Will Campbell and Harold Perkins were named AP preseason All-American, first team AP preseason All-Americans today on Tuesday. So great honor for those guys. Of course, you'd rather be an AP All-American at the end of the season. We'll see if they can play the way that we think they can. I want to dig in a little deeper there on Perk, though, Darry, because look, it's very clear, and we've gotten to see a lot of practice. Brian Kelly has given us a lot of access. Harold Perkins ain't just like parked in the middle of the defense. seldom do you see him lined up in the same spot twice. Sometimes he's off ball. Sometimes he's lined up on the edge. We've seen him drop in coverage. I mean, he's done a ton. So is that more difficult? Like, you and I talked about Harold moving inside, and you said you could do it, and it's just a matter of reps. Well, it's pretty clear that it's not just what they're doing. So what are they doing when you see him moved around that much?
They want to make sure they put him in situations where he can win. You have to, when you get to this level, you have to make sure that you match the guy's skill set. Harold Perkins is probably one of the best inside linebackers as far as when it comes to blitzing. If you're able to blitz him, if you're able to get him on matchups that's favorable towards him, you're going to do that. So by moving him around, what you're doing, you're allowing the offense to make adjustments as well. So let's say you have Harold Perkins lined up in the A-gap pre-snap. Before the ball is snapped, he may move him outside. And what that does, that allows the offense to make audibles, and then you get a matchup with Harold Perkins one-on-one with the running back. So who are you going to take on a one-on-one matchup, Harold Perkins or the running back? I think I'm going to take Harold Perkins.
Yeah.
So when you do that, when you move him around, you make the offense make adjustments, and you also make the offense maybe do pass protection with something that they probably shouldn't have done, and then you free someone else up because the offense may think Harold Perkins is blitzing, he may be dropping in coverage, and then you can send someone else. So it's all about manipulation. It's all about having your poker face on defense. Defense is not complicated at all. If you can get 11 guys playing on one string, 11 guys playing on one accord, and manipulate the offense and have your poker face on offense and not show your hand, then I think you can be successful. I do believe Blake Baker would be able to do that.
Got a couple more minutes here with Derry Beckwith, former All-SEC linebacker, was a Butkus finalist in 2008. I want to talk about the Weeks brothers as well and Greg Penn. So much of the focus is on Harold Perkins with good reason, but I want to start with West Weeks because Blake Baker, you heard him there say, like, he feels like he's got 4 starters. And Derry, like, we've been out there watching 11-on-11 team periods when they go, goal line, like the offense is set up at the 4-yard line, on 1st and goal. And it's West Weeks out there with Harold Perkins. So how is it that a guy who could be so seldom used through 3 years and now all of a sudden, boom, they maybe have the magic unlock?
You got a whole new coaching staff with different eyes. You have a coaching staff who's not set in their ways. You have a coaching staff that realize, look, guys, we can go deep down this roster and play a lot of guys who have talent. I remember my first I went to a practice with Brian Cullet's first year, and I was over by the linebackers. And this is when West Weeks transferred from Virginia. Mm-hmm. And I watched him move, Matt. I was like, this guy is 6'3", 230, and he moves like a safety. Look, when I played from 05 to 08, I hope I'm not, making anyone feel any kind of way, but the linebackers I played with, we didn't move like that at 6'3", 230. We didn't. And this guy was moving fluid. He moved like a safety. So when I see things like that, and especially today's games with the RPO offense, you have to have linebackers that can run and play in space, and this guy can do that. So for my eye test, I know what Blake Baker is saying. When he sees this guys go through drills, he sees this guy blitz, and the way he moves, I have to get him on the field. And you cannot say that you can't get these guys on the field because you can absolutely do it. Even when I was playing, they had a linebacker at Georgia by the name of Ronnie Curran, who's an All-American. Ronnie Curran actually was a substitute going into his senior year. So you can get guys on the field. Kendall Beck was my cousin at one point. He was subbing out the game. Because you can get guys on the field if you're willing to do that and if you're willing not to be stuck in your own ways and prideful. And I think what you're seeing from this defense, they're gonna come at you multiple different ways with multiple different packages, and I believe they're going to get out the quarterback. That's the one thing that you can do if you're not as talented. I'm not saying these guys are not talented, but if you're trying to get back to a great defense, then you got to bring pressure. I think last year in Missouri, he had 19 different people who had sacks. That's a lot of people. Yeah. If you have 19 people on defense who had a sack, and that's why Missouri was successful last year on defense, I think you're going to see that same attack this year with LSU.
Man's creative ways he finds pressure. Derry, we were watching him scrimmage on Saturday, and offense was moving the ball. Boom, safety blitz. Kylan Jackson pressures Nuss, tries to throw it away, gets picked. I mean, it's been interesting to watch. It's definitely going to be a different look defensively. We'll see how much better they can be. What you think about the game, man? A week from Sunday, you got a thought?
I believe it's going to be a close game. I do think it's going to come down to whoever makes the least amount of mistakes. And I think that's a cliche statement, but it's true. This is going to Brian Kelly's third year. What I would say, I believe this is a must-win for Brian Kelly. I do believe that because for the first 2 years, his first games, his teams didn't play as well. First year against Florida State, special teams blew it. Second year, played Florida State, defense didn't show up. So you don't want to get that stigma that your team is not prepared for the first game because it almost seems like, what were you doing all the training camp? So I do believe this is a must-win for Brian Kelly because if you beat USC, now people will kind of begin to say, okay, LSU is kind of riding momentum. I think they play Nickel State the second game. You should win that game. I'm not sure who they play your third game, but I think it's winnable. And now you're sitting 3-0. So you get that momentum going because let me tell you something. If he loses this game against USC, Matt, next time I come on this show, he's going to have for sale signs in his front yard. What's the guy that you use all the time?
Darren James. Let's go.
Darren James going to be selling his house. So I do believe this. Look, I do believe this is a must-win. This guy has an incredible offensive lineman. I was listening to you earlier. Listened to someone earlier. He has 2 O-linemen that's going to be first-round draft picks. So he can have a balanced attack on offense, get pressure on defense, have solid special teams, and I think they should be fine.
Hey, Beast. If they fire him, they owe him $68 million. He could lose this game 100-0. He ain't going nowhere, dog.
Not a bad fine.
He ain't going, bro. He ain't going nowhere, bro. I mean, for better or worse, financially bound for a decade. That is happening, bro.
What am I doing in my life? Jesus Christ.
What are you doing with your life?
Well, so we still got the foundation going, so that's rocking and rolling. Don't know if you know this as well. I have a son that's due at any moment.
That's that's awesome, so man. I did not know that.
I know. So I have a son that's due at any moment. So we're anticipating that and getting ready for that. So that's kind of how my life is being consumed right now. Waiting on our baby boy to come.
Man.
So we're really excited.
You're going to be a great dad, man. Congrats on that. Best to mom and baby, and hope everybody's safe and healthy, and that's what matters most, man. We'll look forward to seeing Daddy Darry here in a little bit.
Absolutely.
Man. How about that? All right, man. Thanks for the time as always. Be well, okay?
All right, you too, man. Have a good one.
That's Derry Beckwith. It's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Man, the bad weather comes, knocks the power out. What do you do? What do? You sit in the dark? You sit in the heat? You go wait in hours-long lines for gas to fill up your generator? Do you go wait in hours-long lines for ice? What you could do is you call Optimize, have them come install a Generac automatic home standby generator. As soon as the power goes out, boom, your Generac automatic home standby generator kicks on, and it runs your whole house as if nothing ever happened. Everybody, literally everybody, if you ask them, would you want a generator? Of course. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? No, I'm going to sit here in the dark. The 2 questions. Can I afford it? Who do I call? Well, can you afford it at Optimize? If you got $600 for a down payment, they have a financing option to meet any budget. So, yeah, you can afford it. And then who do you call? Well, you call Optimize because they are the generator people. They do one thing: sell, service, install Generac automatic home standby generators. So, thinking about installing a generator? Call Optimize. Go to GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Remember, they service the entire 1012 corridor in the state. So Lake Charles, Slidell, anywhere in between. They got 4 physical locations so they can get to you quickly. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. All right, we appreciate Derry Beckwith for being with us. We'll talk to Sean Fazende in about 45 minutes. Good news if you missed it. Juwan Johnson has been activated from the PUP list, so it looks like the Saints tight end is trending toward being ready for the start of the season. That's awesome news. Need to get him ramped up, and of course, Derek Carr needs all the weapons available to him. So get to that. Really kind of newsy day. Looks like more good news for the Saints is that Kool-Aid McKinstry, the knee injury, not expected to keep him out for any length of time. As a matter of fact, Jordan Schultz reporting that McKinstry could be available for Week 1 against Carolina. That's awesome news. Saints back on the practice field tonight. Of course, our guy Ross Jackson from LouisianaSports.net will be there, and he'll have the full coverage for us. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you check out LouisianaSports.net, bookmark it, totally free website. We're leading with LSU Saints SEC coverage, but in time, We'll have full-time recruiting, full-time Pelicans, full-time prep, full-time state schools. So we're looking forward to growing, and we always appreciate your feedback. So if you get to the website, you see something you'd like to see, or we don't have yet, or you like or don't like, let us know. Give us feedback. Our goal with LouisianaSports.net is to super serve the sports fan. We appreciate you for checking us out and giving us a shot. Okay, quick break. Get your text, emails, tweets in if you would. You can text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics. I tell you all the time about Action and how they offer fabrication shop services. What you may not know is they also do exchanger tube cleaning. This is a vapor abrasive blasting technology. So it cleans tubes at pressures that are less than 100 PSI. So it's going to be safer, much safer than the alternative. Like, don't send them to Texas to be dipped in a vat. They can do it right here at Action Industries. It's proven effective by both Iris and the eddy current test. Check out Action Industries. ActionIndinc.com. Go to the website, ActionIndinc.com. You can learn more about Action. They've been around for 42 years. So if you don't know them, you need to. ActionIndinc.com for Action Industries. That's Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics. Check them out online and on LinkedIn.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There's nothing chill about a hot, sweaty line. Unless you add Mountain Cold Refresh.
Pickup trucks, but if it runs like a deer, man, her eyes light up. She thinks my tractor sexy.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Rev delivers our coverage live from Las Vegas starting Friday, August 30th with Off the Bench and After Further Review, and continuing Sunday, September 1st with Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Our coverage is also presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Watch us live on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel to kick off the 2024 LSU football season from Las Vegas with Rev and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Christian Lewis on the text line asked if I'd seen the On3 report about Oklahoma State putting QR codes on their football helmet. It's not an On3 report. Oklahoma State announced it, but yes, On3 is one of the outlets that have published the report. If you missed it, so Oklahoma State is going to have a QR code. If you don't know what a QR code is, it's like the little black and white squiggly design that you can hold your phone up to that sends you directly to a link. So they're putting a QR code on the back of their football helmet. So just the stripe that goes over the front to back on the helmet, on the back center, they have a QR code. So when they're on TV, if someone holds their phone up to the QR code, it'll link directly to their fund, their NIL fund for their student athletes. So just another way that Oklahoma State is being creative and progressive to try to fundraise for NIL. I'm a little surprised that they're able to do it, because I remember a few years back, wasn't it Mississippi State that wanted to put hashtag Hail State in the end zone? I think, see if you can find that. I'm almost positive, and I'm doing this a little off the cuff, so I apologize, but they did it, I want to say, like in the spring game, and I think they wanted to do a hashtag in the end zone, and the NCAA told them they couldn't do it. Well, now you're at this point where you can sell sponsorship logos on the field. You can sell naming rights to your field. So why not QR codes on the helmet as well? And look, there's I love this line, but if you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, he's a kind of a internet personality, but he's kind of a marketing genius. He was really on the forefront of the digital marketing era. And owns an international marketing company. And he has this line that he'll often use, and he says, marketers ruin everything. And it's true. We just launched a website, louisianasports.net. And eventually, we're going to sell ads. And now, don't get me wrong. Our whole goal is to make it as user-friendly and experience so you don't just feel like you're absolutely being assaulted by pop-ups all throughout. Like, we're not going to do that. But there will be like a sidebar with ads. When you listen to this radio show, you listen to this radio show to hear us talk and sports and guests and all that stuff. You don't listen for the ads. So I get it. But it's necessary. You want to have free content? Then support great advertisers that support the shows and the things that you enjoy. You want a great football team? That costs money. So what's more important to you? For the traditionalist today that's screaming, I can't believe they're putting a QR code on the helmet. To the traditionalist last week that's going, they're putting logos on the field. What in the world? What's next? Jersey patches with sponsorships? Yeah. By the way, you know the most popular sports league in the world, the Premier League? They just have jerseys with ads. That's it. It's just their kit is just an ad on the front. It doesn't matter, is the point. It doesn't matter. You're still going to watch. You're still going to love your team. Like, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, you're not going to cheer any less when Oklahoma State scores a big touchdown because there's a QR code on the helmet. I mean, LSU, I talked about this whenever they talked about putting the jersey patches and the logos on the field. When LSU won the national championship, beating Oklahoma in the 2004 Sugar Bowl, you got a big Nokia logo on the patch. Was I any less moved in that moment watching my alma mater win a national championship for the first time in 45 years because there was a Nokia logo on the patch? Hell no. I'm paying attention to that patch, that logo. I don't care at all. And neither should you, and neither will you. The bottom line is if you want to win, it costs money for coaches and for facilities and now for players. And if that helps get the money you need to win, then do it. I commend them for the creativity. I'm just a little surprised they were able to do it, considering some of the hurdles that the NCAA has put in place for things like that when it comes to uniforms and fields and different things like that. You can always get involved. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor, told you for years. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. My buddy Jim Woodworth merged with my Parish partners, Ryan Terrio, Richard Tilley, to create Parish Restoration. So, same great product. Patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. If you have mold or think you might, they get a ton of calls out of the New Orleans area. It makes sense. I mean, Louisiana is like the world capital of mold. The mold capital of the world is a better way to say it because it's wet and it's humid. It's a breeding ground for mold. If you have mold or think you might, you need Parish Restoration. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab right there on the homepage, parishbuilt.com, and you'll get all the info how you can get connected with Parish Restoration. All right, it's after further. Did you find it, by the way?
I didn't.
Okay.
It kept popping up like 2023, so I dug deeper into 2023, and I still didn't find it.
Well, Muse, you know what Condon says about me.
I do. See, I mean, you want to try your hand at it? Moscona has the best Google. You want to try your hand?
Moscona gives the best Google.
Moscona gives the best Google?
That's what he says. Condon said that about me for a long time. Moscona gives the best Google. We get into this break, Muse. Watch how quickly that turns up.
Be my guest. I'm intrigued.
I like the Beauty and the Beast song. Be our guest.
Yeah. There you
Big
go.
Beauty and the Beast guy over here. Does that surprise you?
No, not really. It's a great movie, man.
Yeah.
Probably one of my top 3 Disney movies there, not going to lie.
What else would be on the list?
Lion King, definitely loved it.
There,
yeah, I actually watched the end of it this past weekend. It was just on TV. And then Aladdin. I was a big Aladdin guy. Loved the Goofy movie, too.
Goofy movie. I don't know if I saw the Goofy movie.
That
era right there. Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Aladdin, all of them right there was really good. And then they just started going to like historical things like Pocahontas and Hercules. And it was like, we can do better.
I agree.
We can do better. They were better. I don't know, that was an era. It was a whole era right there. Anyway. And I'll tell you, those Disney animators were really perverted. You know the whole backstory of a lot of the stuff in there? And it's plain as day. It is plain as day. I mean, who did you think? Did you just think you were just going to slip that in there? Like,
I mean, for the kids, yeah. But, I mean, the adults watching it along with the kids are like, look at this.
You're going to get caught.
Yeah. The kids are going to grow up eventually.
You know, like the front cover of The Little Mermaid, the castle? You know that thing?
I don't know that one.
Oh, really?
Oh, wait, is that? No, I don't think I know that one.
Look at the art for the movie.
Okay.
All right, for The Little Mermaid. And it's a castle, right? There's a castle. And in the castle, one of the pieces of the castle is a phallus. Plain as day.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they slipped it in there. Pun intended. I have a lot of Saturdays with T-Bob ahead.
Yes, you do.
I'm just gearing up. That's all I'm doing. All right, it's after further review. Quick break. Mutual Love Tigers and the Pros next.
AFR.
Right by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Watermark Hotel, great spot in Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. As a matter of fact, not just my opinion, you voted in the Best of 225 for the best hotel, and you voted for the Watermark as the best hotel in Baton Rouge. And if you ever step foot inside the Watermark, you'll understand why. Luxury at its finest. Baton Rouge's original high-rise building, the old Louisiana National Bank building. They've kept so much of the historical integrity of the building, the marble, the art up in the ceilings. It's awesome. You're like stepping into a piece of Baton Rouge's history. You go down, like there's a big giant marble staircase in the lobby where you go down. That's where all the bank vaults were. It's so cool. They've turned those into conference rooms and meeting rooms now. You got to check it out if you've never seen it. It's the Watermark Hotel. Of course, the Gregory is the restaurant right there in the lobby. The lobby bar is a great place to have a cocktail or a glass of wine. It's the Watermark Hotel.
Back to school savings at Bayou Ford. $12,000 off F-150. $12,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And $10,000 off Expedition. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Wrapping up hour #2. By the way, Muse, you know what Condon said back in the day, don't you?
Moscona gives the best Google.
He did.
Find it? Did you find it?
Well, I found it. I told you in the break.
Well,
How long did it take me to find Muse?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't have a timer on you.
How long's our break after my live read?
Our breaks are 3 minutes after the live read.
And how long did it take? And then about 30 seconds?
I was going to say closer to a minute, maybe.
But no, it was not.
Probably somewhere around there.
It was definitely not a minute.
Could have been.
It was the first thing that popped up when I searched. And by the way, Shaboy was right, Muse.
There you go.
NCAA Rules Committee bans hashtags, URLs from football fields. This started this was May 1st, 2013, aimed at stamping out all forms of advertising on the field, such as the hashtag in Mississippi State's end zone.
There we go.
Your boy nailed it, Muse.
No Hail State for you, Bulldogs.
Steel trap right here, Muse.
How about that?
Steel trap right here.
Steel trap.
That's what we got. All right. You know what's going to happen now?
What's that?
You're going to do Tigers in the Pros, and 10 years from now, remember exactly what you talked about.
All right.
Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Trey Morgan gets a well-deserved call-up.
Oh, by the way, you can read about that at LouisianaSports.net.
And you should. Morgan going up to Double-A baseball now in the Tampa Bay Rays organization, playing for the Montgomery Biscuits. He'll be teammates with his former LSU teammate, Paul Gervais. As a matter of fact, in high A ball, Trey Morgan was just, he made it a laughing stock. Hit .371 with 6 homers and 44 RBI in 53 games now with the Montgomery Biscuits in Double-A. Kevin Gausman was on the bump last night for the Toronto Blue Jays. Got the loss. Did throw 5 innings. Gave up 3 earned and struck out 5. 2 of those 5 strikeouts were former LSU Tiger Jake Fraley. They were playing the Reds. Yep. Gausman got him twice. As soon as Gausman exits the game, Fraley hits an RBI double and helps lift the Cincinnati Reds to the 6-3 win. That was double number 13 on the year for Jake Fraley. Little beach volleyball for you, Matt. The Manhattan Beach Open was this past weekend, and it ended with a Taryn Cloth Kristen Nuss dub because most every beach volleyball tournament ends that way. They beat last year's champions, Betsy Flint and Julia Skolas. They lost the first set, came back to win the next 2, 21-17, 15-9, their first victory ever at the Manhattan Beach Open. Angel Reese logged a incredible 19 and 20 double-double the last time out. Shot 50% from the field, but her team lost by about 15 points. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You know what you might be able to get at Lee Michaels? Maybe like a championship ring. Alabama fans used to get those. Won't have another one in a long, long time. But you know what you can do, Bammers? You can go buy a beautiful diamond at Lee Michaels. Even if you're a Bama fan, the money still spends at Lee Michaels. lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 9 locations in all. Check them out. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Hour 3 coming up right after Sports Center.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you every day about Michelle weighing and measurement. And I love Michelle because of the story I get to tell. This is a business that opened up in New Orleans 76 years ago. And they've continued to grow over 76 years to literally be the best in the country at the thing they do. They're our nation's largest distributor of scales, and they're right there in Harahan. Their corporate office right there in Harahan. And when you go to their office, and I've done it plenty, and you walk in the front door, the first office on the left is the president and the CEO of the company. I mean, you can walk in, and there's Joel McMullen right there. Their ability to grow and expand while maintaining their personal touch and feel is remarkable. And it's why they continue to grow, expand, and thrive. It's Michelle Weighing and Measurement, Michelle.com, Michelle.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores, criticized for his head coaching style in Miami by Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, addressed the matter today, said reflecting on the situation and communications, he's sure there are things he could do better, and he has grown in that way. Added he's always looking for ways to evolve. Last week, the Browns' plan was for quarterback Deshaun Watson to make his preseason debut in the final exhibition game. Today, Coach Kevin Stefanski's not so certain.
All of our starters should expect to play, and then we'll determine who does or doesn't, how many plays they do. Like I told you guys, in particular with Deshaun, I want to take in all the information this week and really make a final determination later in the week.
Watson hasn't played since breaking his right shoulder in November. In one of the biggest games this upcoming college basketball season, John Calipari will make his return to Rupp Arena February 1st when his Arkansas Razorbacks visit Kentucky, the team he coached for more than a decade. NHL Kraken locked up a cornerstone franchise piece, signed forward Manny Beniers to a 7-year extension worth just under $50 million.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Sir. And Mr. Toby Tombley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Our buddy Sean Fazende here in about 13 minutes from right now. Saints back on the practice field, but they'll be at Ullman, uptown there on Tulane's campus. Really cool night when they do that. I mean, Ullman's a beautiful place. If you've never been to a game there, it's quaint. So where it's not a massive sprawling stadium, so there really isn't a bad seat in the house. It's actually a perfect size for a program like that. The amenities are great. Everything's new. It'll be great for fans. I'm sure a lot of people are going down there. The fact that it's night, it's not going to be impossibly hot at night. Under the lights, just a really cool thing. So we'll get an update from Sean Fazende coming up here in about 12 minutes from right now. So there's so much conversation here as we're days away from the kickoff of week 0, about the college football playoff. And it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, it's the first year of this expanded playoff, and so there's a lot of conversation about it. But honestly, the thing that for me is most interesting or exciting about this conversation is there are more teams that actually have a shot. There are more teams today that can read a column or a piece or have conversation about a college football playoff and feel like they have a legitimate chance. It's not a long shot. It's not a pipe dream. It's not a prayer. A fourth quarter heave to see if your team can get in there. It's very realistic for more teams now than ever. I mean, you think about, by the way, our buddy Hunt Palmer over at LouisianaSports.net has a great column up today where he discusses this and talks about a lot of teams in the past that, whenever you had your second loss, you were done for. I mean, unless if you had a circumstance like in 2007 where Pitt upsets West Virginia, all these wacky things happen. But that was the first time since, I think it was Iowa in the 60s, that won a national title with 2 losses. Go read Hunt's column, by the way, at LouisianaSports.net if you want to check it out. And I know there's this feeling like, well, it devalues the regular season. I've yelled about this for so many years. It's the antithesis. It's the exact opposite that's true. It makes the regular season more meaningful. It makes every game more important. Instead of getting into November where you have a second loss and you're playing out the string to see if you're going to go to the Gator Bowl or the Texas Bowl, now you're seeing, just think last year, 2022, when LSU goes to College Station to play Texas A&M after having beaten Alabama, you are in the mix for a college football playoff spot at that point. And you can say, well, they don't deserve it. Why not? Teams aren't allowed to improve and get better. But I've had this conversation so much, and you know how I feel about it. But it was so interesting. This came up today because Heather Dinich over at ESPN.com, who I like, Heather does a great job. She's a great college football reporter and has covered the playoff since its inception in 2014. Heather did her version of bracketology. So I guess she's the new Joey Brackets. But she's looking at it from the college football playoff standpoint. So here's Heather Dinich's first stab. She has Georgia as the 1 seed. Remember, the top 4 seeds are the 4 conference champions from the Power 4. So Georgia as the 1, SEC champion. Ohio State is the 2, Big Ten champion. Florida State with a bye as the 3, as the ACC champion. And Utah, the Big 12 champion, as the 4. That's the top 4 seeds that she has. So then you look into the first round matchups on campus. And you got a pretty heavy dose of SEC flavor here in the first 2. So, of course, we're going to see the G5. This is something you got to condition yourself to. The G5 is always going to be the 12. Unless if there's some really weird scenario that could unfold, like Cincinnati a few years ago. Boise State, she has as the 12, playing the 5 seed Texas. And then the 8-9 matchup would be an SEC matchup. Number 8, Ole Miss. Number 9, Alabama, with the winner playing number 1, Georgia. How about that? What a reward. And then number 6, Oregon, hosting number 11, Penn State, in a Big Ten matchup. And number 7, Notre Dame, hosting number 10, Miami, in South Bend. Can you imagine Catholics versus convicts in South Bend in a playoff game in South Bend in December? Miami going to South Bend in December? Yes. Fill my plate with that. Now, I would not be super pumped about Notre Dame being in the playoff because, again, Notre Dame does not have to play in a conference. They do not have to play a conference championship game. And so they have a path in that would, in theory anyway, seem or feel easier. It's why week 1, you're pulling for Texas A&M over Notre Dame week 1. But this is the part that, as I have said over and over, is going to get the most people like you and me upset. Notice Heather did not have LSU in. She lists the first 4 out. And the first name on the list, you guessed it, your Fighting Tigers of LSU. As a matter of fact, the first 4 out are all SEC schools. LSU, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma. She's got 4 SEC teams in. Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Bama, and the first 4 out of the field from the SEC, LSU, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma. For what it's worth, the next 4 out she has are Michigan, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and Clemson. That's your next 4 out. And if you're wondering, the G5 power rankings, so the teams that would be in the mix: Boise, UTSA, App State, Liberty, Miami of Ohio. To my point, whenever you look at a first 4 out, whenever that day comes, I don't have the calendar in front of me, but it'll be that Sunday after the conference championship games, when the playoffs are set. Somebody is going to be number 13. Somebody's going to be number 13. And it's going to be a Power 4 team and probably an SEC team, and it might be LSU. They're preseason 13. But somebody on that 13 line is going to miss the playoff in favor of a G5 school. And that's going to happen twice. It's going to happen this year, and it's going to happen next year, because contractually, you still need unanimity to make a change, and the G5 isn't going to vote themselves out of this thing. So naturally, this is going to happen for 2 years. But after those 2 years, that's done away with forever. Because you're going to have some 10-win. There is going to be a 10-win Power 4 team, probably from the SEC, that is going to be, mark my word, mark the tape. Muse, I'm dead serious. I want to clip this right now. I'm going to say this. I'm dead serious. I want to clip this right now, and I want to play it all season long, because I'm making this prediction today, right now. I've said it before, but I'm going to make it a declarative statement right now. It is 5:10 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, August the 20th, the year of our Lord 2024. When the college football playoff rankings come out that set the first 12-team field, the 13th team is going to be a 10-2 team from the SEC or the Big Ten. There will be a 10-2 team from the SEC or the Big Ten that is left out of the playoff in favor of a G5 team like Boise State that's going to play a whole lot of nobody and nothing. And Boise State, or whoever it is going to go get their head kicked in an on-campus first-round game, and there's going to be wailing and gnashing of teeth, and that'll happen twice, and that'll be done with forever, and we'll never see the G5 in a playoff again. If you're wondering, Boise State plays Georgia Southern, Oregon, Portland State, Washington State, Utah State, Hawaii, UNLV, San Diego State, Nevada, San Jose State, Wyoming, and Oregon State. How do you think LSU would fare against that schedule? How do you think Tennessee would fare against that schedule? Missouri, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Penn State. Go down the list. Michigan. The first 4 and the next 4 out. All those teams. How do you think they'd all fare against that schedule? And that's always going to be my point. Muse, don't curse so loud. This mic could hear it. Go check out Heather Dinich's bracketology. I'm excited to watch that evolve, because just think of it this way. A year ago, at this point, if you're looking at a college football playoff preview piece, you're talking about, I don't know, 4 to 6 teams that you felt had a legit shot. Here you have a 12-team bracket, the first 4 out, the next 4 out, that gets you to 20, and the 5 G5 teams that are all in the mix. There's 25 teams. 25 teams that are in this conversation. And there will absolutely be more as the season goes along. It's a more exciting time in college football. I'm fired up for it. Heather Dinich newest bracketologist over at ESPN. What should we call her? Bracket Heather? Heather Brackets? No good?
That doesn't roll off the tongue. We got to
workshop the alliteration with Heather Dinich.
Not with the word bracket, at least, for sure.
I know, bracket.
Yeah.
Help us out. Tweet me or text me. What will Heather Dinich's nickname be as our college football bracketologist? Like Joey Brackets. Does Jerry Palm have a nickname? No, I guess it's just Lenardi, huh? It's just Lenardi.
Yeah.
All right, we need a nickname for Heather Dinich in her role as college football bracketologist. All right, Sean Fazende next, AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Hey, if you got a mosquito problem, and I get it, it's the middle of August and we're getting closer to fall, and I keep telling you about fall bedding plants and your vegetable gardens. And yes, you got to get those vegetable gardens and you got to get the seed in the ground. It's time to start planting those fall vegetable gardens. And they got Johnny Naylor seeds, but the reality is it's still 100 degrees outside every day. If you hang out outside, you probably deal with mosquitoes. And I've told you this before, and it's 100% gospel. We have a pool at our house, and we have a water feature behind our house. Not really a lake or a pond. It's a man-made thing back there. But despite having a pool and water, we do not have a mosquito problem. And I do not spray my home. There is no professional mosquito abatement company that comes by. The only thing I use is the Aeon mosquito barrier from Clegg's. It's like $30. And you replace it every 90 days. Trust me, go get one today at Clegg's Nursery.
Back to school savings at Bayou Ford. $12,000 off F-150. $12,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And $10,000 off Expedition. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app.
Just look at her face. She ain't a fooling me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Big shout out to our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Awesome people, always a lot going on. Right now, by the way, they're giving away free cutter with the purchase of a 4044M, which is perfect for hunting season. You want a deer? You go to Sunshine. It's what you do. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Saints are back in New Orleans and back on the practice field tonight. Well, night practice over at Ullman. Sean Fazende, Fox 8, he'll be there. Good enough to join us now. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Hey, before I get to tonight, let me just go back to 3 weeks out in California. If I asked you one big under-the-umbrella takeaway from your time in California, what would you say it was for the first 3 weeks of Saints camp?
Yeah, look, I've said this a lot, and it was the conditions made it seem like, it was so, beautiful out there in perfect conditions. But make no mistake about it, it was an intense, physical, competitive camp. I mean, they got after it. They had more. Maybe it's just a little bit of recency bias, but it just felt like they had more padded practices go for 2.5 hours than I can remember of any training camp, at least in the last, call it, 8 to 10 years. So I thought overall, just from a purely kind of mechanical standpoint of the operation of training camp, I thought it was about as good as you could possibly imagine. I thought it was a very, very physical camp. That's probably not being discussed enough. It was a very physical camp.
What are you expecting tonight?
A lot of fans. They'll go for about 2 hours. I don't know if they're going to be in full pads tonight. I haven't heard anything about that. But this is generally, they've done this a couple of years now. Usually a pretty good response from the fan base here. They come out, check it out for a nightcap here from 7 to 9. So, and this is their first practice back, obviously, from the game. Their first practice back here in New Orleans. 2 hours scheduled instead of the 2.5 gauntlets that we've been going through in California. So it should be a pretty decent night.
What's the schedule like for the rest of the week, Sean, as they kind of build toward the final preseason game?
Yeah, they got a couple practices at the training facility Wednesday and Thursday, and then they have the final public practice Friday from 1 to 3 at the Superdome. Get accustomed to the new turf being put in there at the Superdome, and it's the same time as the Sunday game from 1 to 3. They'll obviously have off on Saturday and do the walkthroughs or whatever they do, night before a game. But so a couple of more practices. And then the big practice Friday at the Superdome, and then obviously close out the preseason against Tennessee Sunday inside the Dome.
Hey, it's interesting we have you on because I'm not even sure if you saw this, but I would assume you did. I know you tweeted earlier today about Juwan Johnson, but we have all the corresponding moves. There was 3 roster moves today, so they've activated Juwan Johnson off of PUP and signed cornerback Jonah Williams and waived injured center Sincere Haynesworth. That's obviously a bummer for the Tulane product there in New Orleans. The big news there, though, is Juwan Johnson. Reaction to them activating him off of PUP?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think he's someone they're counting on. I think it's someone that they need. I think it was a little frustrating to see him not being ready to go for training camp really the entire time we were in California. But, as I watched that offense, I'm sure you watched a lot of it as well. As much as I like some of the things they're doing, I think from a personnel standpoint, they're short a playmaker. And I don't know if he's the answer to that sort of playmaker answer to that question, but I do think they need another playmaker that can, do something with the ball in his hand. I just don't know from a personnel standpoint they have quite the firepower yet. So hopefully he can be the answer and to go look elsewhere. But I think it's huge to get him back, get him acclimated to the system because you've seen the system, you've seen what they've done. I mean, they need some help, particularly at that position. I mean, Dalvin Holker got injured pregame. So you're talking about really thin numbers in that group. And a lot of those guys are undrafted guys. Well, you have Foster Moreau, who's obviously a guy that has a certain style when it comes to tight end. Jason does everything. I like Holker a lot. I think he's going to make the team and play a lot, but he's still an undrafted rookie. So I think they need some help at that position. So to get Juwan back, I think is huge.
Is it realistic to think Juwan Johnson will play week 1, considering how short a timetable this will be?
Well, it'll be about, a 2.5 weeks, call it something like that. It really just depends on how much he progresses at camp or at the next few practices. I think it's in the realm of possibility. I don't know if it's a slam dunk. I do know they want him to play. And I do know that they had always sort of targeted week 1 as the date for him to get back. It's just a matter of how well he sort of, responds to the foot injury and the foot healing as he gets back on, the turf and gets running again. So I think it's up in the air. I think there's an outside chance, but I also think at some point, even if it's not week 1, will be fairly soon in the season.
Sean Fazende, Fox 8 is with us. Saints practice tonight at Ullman. Be pretty cool, man. That's always cool to see the pictures and the videos come out of that nighttime practice there at Tulane. Hey, Juwan Johnson being activated off of PUP is obviously good news. The other good news, I know earlier today Jordan Schultz reported, I'm not sure if others have, Sean, or if you have an update, but it sounds like it's good news on Kool-Aid, and the report was that he could even be trending toward being available in week 1.
Yeah.
Kind of, if you would, unpack what this means for the cornerback room with Lattimore still being injured and everything that's going on there.
Well, I mean, you saw the corresponding transaction today with the cornerback that was signed. I don't have enough bodies to practice here right now. You don't have a Debo, you don't have Lattimore. Now you don't have Kool-Aid, which is certainly great news that he'll be back, or at least it looks like they'll be back for week 1. And it should be said, DA said that right after the game, that it looks like they avoided major catastrophe there, but that's a little bit open ended. You don't know when that means in terms of the timeline. So that's certainly good news. But in the meantime, how you practice? You need some guys out here. So that's certainly something to watch just when it comes to practice reps and who's getting what in certain situations. Maybe it opens up an opportunity for some other guys. A guy like Rico Payton, a guy like Rajon Wright. I mean, they've all done decent things in preseason games, so they could get some first team reps out here. I think Alontae Taylor has been the one constant because he's been available the whole time. But that cornerback room, when they're all healthy, should shape up to be probably the strongest, deepest unit on team.
It's a mouthful, but it's true. I mean, the way Kool-Aid's played, if he's healthy, as they enter this final week of the preseason, Sean, who are the players or maybe the positions that, when we talk about the roster bubble, have the most to gain, lose, or the most intriguing this week?
Yeah, that's interesting because there's always the position group that has the numbers. So I still look at that second tier offensive lineman, which it should be said, every team in the NFL is short on backup linemen. That's just there aren't enough quality offensive linemen going around. But I do think that's an issue the Saints need to certainly pay attention to. At running back, it really just depends on how they truly view Kendre Miller. If he's a guarantee or a lock to be on the roster, maybe that position's a little easy. But if not, then what do? I mean, you got some guys that have really been, working it out here. Now look, they haven't been great, but they've had some moments, and it really just depends on is Kendre a shoe-in or not? Because if he's not, then you've got more questions there. And look, I alluded to it earlier. Another playmaker. To me, I still think you need some help at receiver. I mean, I still think you need help at receiver. I don't think this team truly has. They can all do it, but it truly has a guy. Like, the number one thing on their scouting report is run after catch. I don't know if they have that guy. And this offense, that's what it's predicated on. So I do think there's a chance that you could possibly see some movement there. So those would be the areas I would look at: that offensive line, the running back position, and then can anyone kind of step up in that wide receiver room to be wide receiver 3, 4, and 5.
What do you think about the specialists?
I think it's up in the air.
Okay.
I thought up until Sunday that Headley was far ahead in the punter battle. He's in the lead, but he didn't play well Sunday. Groupie's a guy, that position probably didn't need to be that competition probably didn't need to be as close as it's been, but I still think you lean towards the incumbent there. Charlie Smith's a great story, but man, hadn't played an NFL game yet. I think that's a little dicey. So I think he helped himself Sunday. Groupie did. So I think it's I don't know if you call it settled, but that's where I would lean with those two guys right now.
Sean Fazende, Fox 8 there in New Orleans. Saints on the practice field tonight at Ullman here in about 90 minutes from right now. We appreciate it as always, man. Welcome home. Thanks for the time.
All right, bud. Appreciate it.
We'll see you. Good stuff by Sean. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. You know where to find them. southpointvw.com, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. So often when we talk about South Point, I tell you about the German engineering. I tell you about, of course, all the style, the feel, the performance of luxury. We talk about the safety features, the 9 different IIHS top safety picks. I don't always talk to you about price, but it's a great time to remind you about price because right now it's the back to school savings event going on. How about 1.9% APR for 60 months on 2024 Tiguan? That's the compact SUV. I mean, 1.9% for 5 years. You can get it right now over at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, because they move more inventory. They got a better selection. They can give you better deals than anywhere. It's at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Appreciate Sean for a couple of minutes there. It's always interesting when you get to this point in camp, especially because there's not the gradual reduction in roster like we used to see, where you'd have several rounds of roster cuts. It's from 90, boom, 53. And so it's just this giant roster dump, and there's always surprises every year. And I think the one that maybe caught my attention most listening to Sean talk was, I think he's right. You look at receiver and offensive line where there's a bunch of players at that position. There's always going to be some shakeup at the back of that list, but because you can afford to maybe take a shot, a flyer on a guy. When he said running back, it surprised me. And maybe it shouldn't, because Kendre Miller has been injured since day one, and Dennis Allen said point blank about Kendre Miller. Like, if he wants to make the team, he's got to stay healthy. Well, it's a guy entering year 2 that was a third-round pick. So that could be fascinating. And if Kendre Miller doesn't make the team, then who is it? Is it Mims, who looked really good the other night? Gosh, and is Alvin Kamara, can he stay healthy? You draft Kendre Miller with the thought of him being the heir apparent to Alvin Kamara in that role, but he's got to stay healthy. So do you cut bait already? It's a fascinating time. It's why I know most people wake me up when the regular season gets here. And I get it. But roster spots 51, 52, 53 matter, because every roster spot on an NFL roster matters, because everybody on game day plays. Whether it's special teams, whether you're the holder, whatever it is, everybody plays. And you have to have depth, and you have to have a guy like a JT Gray who can be great on special teams, but if you need him in a pinch to go play safety in an NFL game, he can hold his own. And those are the types of guys at the end of a roster that are trying to win a roster spot. So, final preseason game coming up on Sunday, and we'll get to roster cuts. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us. Let me knock out a quick break. If you want to join us, you can email us, tweet us, text us. The text line, of course, in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We got Otter Locks with Jimmy coming up in about 15 minutes from right now. Jump aboard with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about Glow Resources. Jareth Knockan and the gang over at Glow Resources have done an incredible job building great culture at Glow Resources. It's no wonder why they're so great at helping other businesses find the people to help them be more productive. Check them out online at glowresources.com, G-L-O, glowresources.com. Yes, they specialize in skilled blue-collar workers. So if you need skilled blue-collar labor, they can find it for you. But they also have a professional placement division. Essentially, if you're trying to hire any office job from C-level management on down to anything, they can find that person that you're looking for, the hard-to-fill roles even. So if you're the owner, if you're the VP, if you're the ops manager, if you're the hiring manager, the person in charge of hiring, and you're struggling to find those people to make your business more efficient, you need Glow Resources, where they have a 93% retention rate. G-L-O, glowresources.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Holy Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's
Get to the barn, put it up for the night. Climb up in the loft, sit and talk with the radio on.
After further review powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Get ready to make some picks for this year's college football pick'em presented by Hooters. Register now at 1045ESPN.com. Weekly winners will be entered to win a 2-night stay at the Beau Rivage, and the first place season-long champion will receive a 75-inch 4K flat-screen TV and soundbar. It's the 2024 College Football Pick'em presented by Hooters.
All right, we got action. You're hot, you're hot.
Oh,
we got action. A 5:40 first pitch here, Mussolini. We got Arizona, the Diamondbacks.
D-backs, all right.
On the run line. They're in Miami against the Marlins. Arizona on the run line. And we're going to hook it up in a parlay with the over in the same game. So that's coming back at plus 276. So if you want to go give that a go, really good odds there. Arizona on the run line, minus 1.5, hooking it up in a parlay, same game over 7.5. That's the game first pitch here is in about 5 minutes, 4 minutes as a matter of fact. So get in on it. Otter's here about 10 minutes from right now. We'll get Otter Locks, so we got it. Let's see. I want to get, I like the idea of, he just texted me. He didn't text you and me. Usually when he sends it to both of us.
Yep.
No. He doesn't like you, Muse. Or maybe he thinks you're sick still.
Yeah, that was about to say,
Muse had the vid yesterday, but he's back. Welcome back from the vid, Muse. Glad
Thanks.
to have you. Why are you laughing?
I had another vid. I had the vid. I'd probably still have the vid.
Well, maybe you still do have the vid.
I don't know. Probably not.
How do you know?
I don't.
You don't? That's exactly right, Muse. You don't. That's why you're so dang irresponsible hanging around here with all your contagion.
I mean, I'll leave.
No, please don't. Okay, couple of real quick. We asked, so Heather Dinich, new ESPN bracketologist. Please, what?
We have names?
Yes. Oh. And someone did send us a message on the mobile app, on the Speak Up. Kenny did. So can you listen to it to see if it's appropriate? Did you get it as well?
I got it. Let me see.
Please listen to it to make sure it's appropriate. And if it's any good, then we'll play it. So Heather Dinich today
It's asked me for a login. That's new.
Heather Dinich today put out her first bracketology for the college football play. Of course, Heather Dinich has covered the college football playoff since its inception in 2014. So now she's kind of a bracketologist, I suppose. So we were thinking, like, well, Joe Lenardi has the nickname Joey Brackets. What do we call Heather Dinich? There's no real alliteration there, so what do we do? I asked for your opinion. Clark Dennis said Heather Heather, he put Heather Brackage. I think he might mean Heather Brackets, like Heather Brackets.
No, but I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It doesn't roll off the tongue.
I don't like that either. I don't like that. Patrick email said HDB, Heather Dinich Brackets.
HDB.
Just HDB. Instead of like what? Instead of like HBD, like
happy birthday, yeah.
So HDB, I guess you're just flipping it, like HBD. Not feeling it.
No, because then people are going to ask, what does it mean? What does it stand for? And it's just like, oh, Heather Dinich Brackets.
Yeah.
It doesn't roll off the tongue either. I don't know if Heather gets a nickname. She's got a tough name to make nicknames with.
I believe in our text listeners to come up with something good. There's enough of a sample size there where someone's going to come up with something. We were asking you earlier, Muse, to quickly Google to find out if I was right about Mississippi State and the hashtag, which of course I was, and you couldn't figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Maddie on the text line said, Musso just opens Google and has a cat walk across his keyboard.
It's just inaccurate, Maddie. It's not at all what
Garrett
happens.
Pizzolato, it's after 4:20. Musso's brain might be fuzzy.
Brain's fine. Okay, so it looks like some people call people named Heather Hezzy. Could we do something with that?
Heather Hezzy?
Like Hezzy is a nickname for Heather. I don't know. I'm like, I didn't know if there was like a nickname for Heather, so I'm looking into it. Apparently, some people use Hezzy. Or
I don't know. I know people. Paul, do you know anybody named Heather that has a nickname? I know people named Heather, but they go by Heather.
I do not.
Yeah, I don't know that you abbreviate Heather.
Well, I'm spitballing here. Hetty. I see people say Hetty. Hattie. Could we do something there? Hetty Brackets? No, see, that still stinks. That's not good. It's bad.
What about something with the playoff, like CFP?
I think that's when you get back into HDB, though.
Grant Stevens said LSU would most likely be ranked, and Boise State would be ranked just behind LSU, but get their auto bid and rank for the 12th seed. But that's the point. So if you missed it, Heather Dinich has LSU as the first team out. So Boise would be 12, and Grant, you're wrong. Like, they would still get the 12 seed as I don't know if you're talking about a ranking or seeding, it's irrelevant. The point is LSU would be the first team out because Boise getting the G5. So effectively, remember, you're going to have 4 conference champions that get the auto bids 1 through 4, and then you have 7 at large, but one of them is a G5. So, or I'm sorry, you have 8 at large, one of them is a G5, so you have 7 spots. So really, it's the top 11 that are going to be in the field, not the top 12, because unless if the G5 is in the top 12, which will never happen because they stink. So it's going to happen to somebody. I just don't want it to happen to my team. I either want LSU to be in or to be way out. Heather D. Brackets. That's from Glenn. Wayne Ferguson. What about playoff Heather? Like playoff Lenny?
Okay, now wait a minute.
Playoff
I like
Leather?
that, actually.
Playoff Leather. Playoff Heather.
I like that. I think that's the leader in the clubhouse so far.
Scott Shirley. Heather the Projector. Scott Morvant.
Yeah.
Dinichology. See, that's going to be way too tough.
Yeah, I like where he's going there,
He
though.
tried to make, like, bracketology, but like Dinichology. He tried to merge the word, and he really butchered this with
the spelling.
But I understand what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
It should be Dinichology.
Yeah.
But the
I like it.
But the ch on the end of Dinich makes it tough.
It makes it tough, but I like I like his thinking. I like his thought process there.
I think it needs to be a sharp consonant. Like bracketology. Dinichology. Cha. That Chris said, I'm not reading that. I'm just not reading that at all.
Probably a smart move.
I'm not reading that. And Matt French just sent me a picture of the movie poster from the movie Heathers. That's with Winona Ryder and Christian Slater. That's all.
Sure. Yeah, that doesn't help at all, but thanks. I really like what dude was doing with Dinichology, but I get what you're saying too. But I like that. I wish we could make that work somehow.
Heatherology?
Heatherology? I don't like that either. That's it.
HDology?
Oh, no, wait a minute.
There are people listening right now. If they're well, actually, because of the nature of this conversation, Muse, There may not be anybody
Maybe
listening
not.
right now. Well, actually, then I look at the text line,
And
there
they're all
clearly
about
are.
it. Yeah.
It's popping off right now. We can do it, I know. By the way, if you're heading home right now, pop on into Supper Club. Speaking of popping off, how you pop in to Supper Club. They're open again. They're open Tuesday to Saturday, so great opportunity to stop on by. If you've never been to Supper Club, it's usually earlier to get a table or to get your spot at the bar. Maybe you're knocking off of work. You don't want to go home. Where are you going to go to have a cocktail? Where are you going to go to have that glass of wine? Maybe you've got a client in town. You want to do some business over drinks. Go to Supper Club. If you don't have a reservation, that's okay. You can walk in. It's open seating at the bar. And you never know. You might get lucky. Maybe early seating or cancellations. You might be able to get in and grab a table here tonight for dinner. So if you're looking for something to do to experience Supper Club for the first time, why not make it tonight? Get on by Supper Club right there on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge. And remember, while Supper Club is fun and has a great vibe to it, it's not so noisy that you can't conduct business. You can sit in the dining room and have a conversation. So make sure you check it out, supperclubbtr.com for reservations, supperclubbtr.com. And let me know about your experience. You go and you try Supper Club and you maybe try some of the new menu items. I'm telling you, the Omi beef, the Sagrera beef, it's amazing. But go try the veal parm. Change your life. It's Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. All right, Otter Locks is coming up here in just a quick minute. Do we have any others? Did you check Twitter or anything else?
Yeah, I don't see anything on Twitter.
JJ, Mad Heather?
No, I don't like. I mean, I don't even understand that.
HD Gridology. That's from Carla.
Gridology.
HD Bracket. HD Bracket. That's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's from Ryan. No, that was who said that? Kirk said, "What the hell are y'all talking about?" If you come in if CFP Denny.
CFP Denny.
Playoff
Denny.
Playoff
Denny.
Instead of playoff Denny,
Lenny.
playoff Denny. See, we workshop this, and I think we might have stumbled upon some things. Playoff Denny.
I like that.
Do we have playoff Heather as well? Playoff Heather or playoff Denny?
Playoff Heather.
Playoff Heather, playoff Denny. You like Dennichology.
I like the concept of that. I wish we could make that work.
HDB. Heather Dinich Brackets. It's time for HDB. Heather Dinich Brackets. That could play.
That could play.
But you would have to use it in imaging like that.
Yeah.
And to those who just joined us, my sincere apologies for wasting your time with this mindless drivel, provided you're still here. Heather Dinich put out Bracketology. We sort of started down the path of Joe Lenardi is Joey Brackets. Could we come up with a nickname for Heather Dinich? And what we're finding here, it is really difficult to work a nickname for the name Heather Dinich.
Hunt just came up with a really good one. He just tagged both us on Twitter.
Shout out, Hunt.
Denny's Dozen. That's really strong.
That should be the name of the column.
That really should be the name of the column.
Denny's Dozen. Yeah, it's good.
I like it.
Dang it, Hunt. That's why I used to invite Hunt on AFR as a guest every single week. We had great imaging for him as well until he completely abandoned me for Off the Bench. Years ago. Best
the good news is you're not bitter.
Best imaged open to any segment I think ever here. The Robert Palmer Open. So Hunt's real name is Robert. It's Robert Palmer.
Yeah.
And we had a little Simply Irresistible and Addicted to Love, some Robert Palmer jams under there. It was really good.
I wonder if that's still on the shared drive.
It's somewhere.
Yeah.
Or you can find an old interview with Hunt where it's on the front end of it. Anyway. I mean, I got live reads that are 14 years old still in there. I know you know.
I know.
I don't delete anything. All right. We got to go. Otter Locks next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. If you are thinking about selling your home, now is the time. Y'all, interest rates have ticked down. There's still not enough inventory, so this is a great time. With interest going up, not enough inventory to jump in now and strike. If you're looking to sell your home, call the best. Call Darren James, 335-7666. 335-7666. That's Darren James's cell phone number. Don't believe me? Call him or text him right now. Text that number, 225. You can call Darren James right now. 335-7666 or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. It's the most user-friendly website in real estate. It'll get every single listing from every company all in one place. It aggregates it all together. So just bookmark agent225.com and make that your home for finding your next home. Agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, you know, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, you know. We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
All right, Otter, how are you?
Oh, it's good, man. Look, Delmar 72-degree weather is in the rear-view mirror. It's handicapping training camp, Dan. Do that little show with Charlie in the afternoon, and I'm running the levee over here and finishing up at the Queen doing my handicapping, baby.
What?
So let's go.
Did you run? Did you run from your house to the Queen down the levee?
Oh, I took the car a little closer. But anyway, you know, I just ran a little bit. Got to get your mind right. Get your mind right.
Got it.
So,
Get you a
all
cold
right,
plunge later, Otter.
Kids got to run. That Corbin Carroll's unbelievable. Don't bet no run to the first inning against the Diamondbacks right now. He's on fire. So, look, Toronto against the Reds. Reds got them last night. Pitching advantage to Toronto at home. Soft line. Take the Blue Jays.
All right.
What current line are we looking at right now?
125.
That's great. It went from 140 to 125. I'm looking at my sheet over here at the Queen right now. Philly, Zach Wheeler, he's second choice right now. NL Cy Young behind Chris Sale. Of course, Paul Skeens has fallen down a little bit. But he's pitching at Atlanta tonight. Lopez has been on fire. That's an under, Matt. You get 8 or 8.5?
8.
8 under.
All right, Phillies, Braves, under 8.
Milwaukee's been as hot as anybody, but there's not really a whole lot of urgency with them with a double-digit lead for the National League Central. Take St. Louis, soft line, big pitching advantage here for sure, minus 120 here. I'm looking at my DraftKings sheet.
All
that
right.
was earlier. What are we looking at now?
122.
Okay. All right, Royals, we tried to get them last night with that big line. We didn't got as much as plus 220, but those sorry son of a guns, they can't do anything. So give me the Royals. Reagan's a guy, man. He is really, really hot. Starting pitching's hard to get. Going to tie him up. We don't want to lay that line, obviously, 205. We don't want to lay the run line at home. We did that and got away with it, so we'll sneak away after the Dodgers hit last night. But we're going to tie it in with the Dodgers, minus 155 or so. Royals, Dodgers parlay.
All right, Royals, I'm looking at 198 right now. Dodgers, where are you, Dodgers? There they are. Dodgers, 162. Hook it up together. It's coming back at a nice price, plus 143.
Yes, indeed. All right, got our hands slapped betting against the A's. This is the 2024 A's and not the 2023 A's.
1 minute remaining.
Okay, we're going with the A's tonight. Even money against Tampa Bay. And then the hottest team in all of baseball since the All-Star break. They popped them again last night, the San Diego Padres, at basically minus 110. Got a full slate for you tonight.
All right, so we're going A's and Padres?
Yes, set for bets.
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Okay, wait, let me look for where's San Diego? Ooh, where are you?
Third to last game.
This is a little out of line.
Now.
Oh, against the Twins. No, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't. It was higher up. That's why I missed it. Okay. Got it. All right, we got a full slate. I'll recap. Toronto money line, under 8 in Atlanta, Philadelphia. St. Louis money line, Kansas City hooking up with the Dodgers in a parlay, A's and Padres. Let's go make some
training
money.
camp, worms at school. I'm going straight to Roke in the morning.
See ya. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding. They do it all. Oh, yeah. They do shutters as well over at Relief Windows. The thing Brandon Holly says all the time, their number one product is customer satisfaction. Y'all, listen, you can call a dozen different window companies if you want. And you can call a bunch of people out and give you quotes. And somebody's going to give you a cheaper price. There's no doubt. I'm telling you right now, if you're just shopping price, don't call Relief Windows because they won't be the cheapest. They can't be the cheapest. They give you a lifetime warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. They measure twice, install once. Every window is custom made. They do not accept a down payment. They will not take $1 until they're done and you're thrilled. So, yeah, it's the best. It's Relief Windows. Windows, door siding, shutters as well. It's ReliefWindows.com.
Back to school savings at Bayou Ford. $12,000 off F-150. $12,000 off the new 2024 Ford F-150. And $10,000 off Expedition. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about